What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Leroy's in the house tonight. Good to have my brother from another mother on the show.
It is good to be here, folks.
I ordered the shirts today. Did you see them?
See that again? You cut out.
I ordered all the shirts today.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
dude. Come on, those look freaking money, dude.
They look amazing.
Yes, they're gonna look great. So, pretty excited. We may even sell them on the show afterwards, but we're doing our photo shoot coming up, and that's why at least I am hitting the gym constantly, feeling much better. Looking forward to it. My shirts don't fit anymore. Like this, you might be getting this sucker. So like it doesn't fit anymore. So I gotta, I look really ostentatious in it. I feel like it's too small. But got those ordered. Also ordered a Still Point hat. I figured it would be good to have Still Point have a little bit of love during the photo shoot. I mean, they're going to be seen, and why not rock the band that's taken care of us for 4 years? Folks, we got a good show tonight. It's going to be fun. We're talking about self-deportation, a video. Somebody who's deporting themselves for no reason. Jon Stewart, the expert at emotional dilemmas and false equivalencies. Democrats rinse, repeat, and fail. They're doing it again. We are not going to invade Canada. Maddow admits NBC is racist. Don Lemon is sour grapes over Megyn Kelly, and GOP spending bill. All in 3 minutes. We'll be right back. I just got that in. Whew.
Hey, Matt, congratulations on your success, brother. And I really appreciate you giving, both sides, and just free speech, the opportunity to have a platform, dude.
Got it. You got it. Thanks for everything you've done for this country, Eli. We'll talk next time. Tell Jen hello, and I'll have this ready in a couple of hours, and you can share it and take a look. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. That's going to be the Still Point hat. I think it's going to look great. It's an Adidas. No, it's an Under Armour hat, or it's Adidas. One of the two.
I like that.
But yeah,
that looks
sick,
really
dude.
good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. But one of us are going to wear it during the shoot. It's either you or me. I don't know. But I've got about 175 million hats, so we're going to be fine. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show, Leeroy. Good to have you here. Hey, you know we have a version of the Salty shirt on the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to order you one tonight.
Way better than the one that I'm wearing here.
I'm going to send it. When you show up, I'm going to give it to you because I can't have you wearing grunt style on my show. I'm sorry. We can no longer support Timmy Jensen anymore. I'm sorry. I'm just teasing. You can wear whatever you want, including grunt style. I've got about. You know what? I'm going to give you all my grunt style shirts, and I've got about 80 of them. I just don't wear them anymore.
You know, you're going to do that, and we're going to find out that I'm in a much bigger size because I'm way fatter.
You're in an XL, aren't you?
It's like a XL, 2XL, somewhere in there.
Do you need me to increase the size of the shirt that I just ordered?
Did you order an XL?
I ordered what you always wear on the show, which is like you've ordered XLs every single time on.
You know, I'll tell you why. Because after they've gone through the wash a few times, they tend to shrink a little bit.
Yeah. So here's the deal: you're not using fabric softener, are you?
I don't know. My wife does all this.
Never. You might talk to your wife. Don't use fabric softener on colored shirts. It's the worst thing. It'll shrink them. And then pre-wash on cold one time, and then hang dry, and then it won't shrink anymore. But it is cotton. But here's the thing: you're only going to wear this for the shoot, and then if you need another one, I'll just order it for you. Deal?
Oh, that's no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, an XL will look great. Anyway, so I will make sure that the Salty is in double X. You're not fat, by the way. You're big boned.
My cans look perky.
Well. Anyway, moving on. So we got a lot of good stuff. First, usually what we do in the show is we talk about, the store and all that, and then the donations. We're doing something new. Instead of that, I've realized that it gets more people involved when we start off with something right away with the show. And then after the first segment, we go ahead and get into the kind of the advertisement stuff. And, we're trying to grow. So we're going to do something outside of A Block. This is going to be an overtime segment, and that way you don't feel like we don't love you, we don't appreciate you. Are you familiar with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Leeroy?
I am. That was what Maxine Waters was advocating for. That was on the show about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and she was saying that the American public could not live without it.
That's right. Well, she has a new one, of course, because like a dog with a bone, she has a new position that is trying to just set it down, please. She is trying a new
Musk and House
a new angle to this. Listen to this crap. She did her hair. The good news is it didn't do any good, and the bad news is it didn't do any good. She still looks like the. I don't like making fun of people, but she does look like Bill Cosby 3 days dead in a dress. It's really bad. But anyway, here she is, orange hair and all.
I strongly oppose the Republican budget ripoff. I hear from constituents every day about the high cost of living. Under the Trump administration, healthcare costs are rising, and putting food on the table is getting harder as egg prices skyrocket and housing remains unaffordable. Unfortunately, the Republican ripoff is a slap in the face to working families. Trump, Elon Musk, and House Republicans are asking us to support axing Medicaid by $180 billion, even though food stamps reduce rural poverty. Republicans will cut this program too by $230 billion. Republicans are defunding the police by stripping funding from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the CFPB is the only federal cop on the block to hold Wall Street banks and big tech payment apps accountable when they cheat Americans. It is shameful that while families suffer from high prices, Musk is firing thousands of federal workers and stealing sensitive data from his competitors. Although this ripoff cuts $2 trillion in vital programs. And what do Republicans plan to do with this money? Oh, they're going to give it. They're going to give it to the billionaires in this country. $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. If that math doesn't compute, it's because they expect Americans to buy the next mega yacht for Jeff Bezos. Well, I tell you, we're not going to do that. And we want to tell you today, we're no. Democrats are no on this budget. It is outrageous that you all have the audacity to come here with this budget that harms so many Americans and ask us to support billionaires and think we're going to buy it? You think we're going to support it? Well, you got another thought coming. We ain't doing it.
Wow.
So much wrong in that
yeah,
statement.
There's a lot there to unpack.
I'm just going to give you the most basic. The Consumer Protection Bureau is not a police force in any way, shape, or form. They don't have arresting powers. They have investigatory powers. They can do surface-level investigations. They can make recommendations for investigations to the DOJ. But the ones you're also looking for are the Department of Treasury, the FDIC, the Secret Service. These are all, and the FBI, are all bodies that look into consumer fraud. So the Consumer Protection Bureau doesn't necessarily mean that consumers will not be protected. There are plenty of other agencies that do so. We'll talk about the etymology of the Consumer Protection Bureau. Leeroy, your thoughts on this before we do that?
Well, there's just so much there to unpack. You could literally do an entire show just based off of most of the fallacies that she threw out there inside of 3 minutes. Everything from eggs and their cost and, what the president has to do with that, unless you're the one that ordered, killing millions of chickens, to the housing costs, which doesn't really have anything to do with, that's more of a localized problem, which, oh, by the way, if you're from California, then it's a self-inflicted wound. To the $230 billion for the food stamp. There's a lot there to unpack.
Yeah. The thing about the Consumer Protection Agency is that it funds itself through the Federal Reserve. So oversight is extremely limited. And like the Fed itself, it isn't under government control. So therefore, without oversight, they have unfettered access to spending with no regulatory control. That is not limiting government. And Republicans believe that this bureau creates harder times for John Q. taxpayer. It is to protect Dodd-Frank. We understand that. We understand the lending bubble. We understand what happened in 2008 and 2010, 2006. We get all this. There are now revisions in place as far as predatory lending that was happening with the banks. We also need to apply this to college institutions. And the CFPB was at one point a necessary requirement in order to get things in order. However, the banks have all caught up to this. The regulatory commissions have all caught up to this. Unfair practices and unfair spending laws have stopped these type of things. And we are now, almost 20 years removed from these situations. And now Department of Treasury, FDIC, FBI can take a look at these things, and we no longer need an unregulated body that has an endless budget that is on the rise and has quadrupled since its inception. We're seeing this with the VA. We're seeing this with the Fed, who has unfettered control with our economy, that can control inflation just to spite on political points, can increase the interest rate or decrease the interest rate to stop fluctuation in order to print money at a rapid clip. These things are not good for where we're at. So, just clear, and then I'm done. This is not a police force. This is not defund the police. What a stupid comment. This lady has no fucking clue what she's talking about, as always. And she's just riling people up just to go ahead and stir the pot like Democrats always do, and America's sick of it. Go ahead, Leroy.
You hit on something that's, I think, maybe a little bit of a deeper conversation. And we don't have to do it now necessarily. Thank you, Christine. Here's to hoping You make a shirt with all 4 of you on it. Thank you. Yeah, I would like that. That would be awesome, right?
There's something coming. So as soon as we get the photos done, there will be a Don't Unfriend Me shirt. Go ahead.
So the question is, if something is against the law, so you have this law, right? And it is on the books. Now, you have a myriad of different agencies, FBI, local law enforcement, DIA, just all of these investigative bodies. But the law is still on the books, doesn't matter who investigates it. So for the Consumer Protection Agency, whatever the hell she's advocating for, it doesn't matter because Matt brings up a good point. They're not a police force. So they're not enforcing anything, right? The law is already out there. You don't need another agency to enforce it. That's what local law enforcement is for, or FBI, or the IRS, or any one of a number of government agencies.
I can't believe I forgot the IRS.
Right. And so who would be responsible for enforcing said law? Because if they're not going to do it, then what you're saying, Maxine, is that it is just another fluff organization that soaks up taxpayer money,
right,
and does nothing.
More bureaucracy. Right? Yep, that's all we're doing on that. We're moving on because we've got plenty of other stuff to do. That's a little early overtime. We do overtime at the end of the show. We usually stay late, especially with Leeroy and I. We always stay till 9:30 or so. It's also good for the podcast. Anything over 2.5 hours gets a shit ton of commercials on the podcast. Folks, so who are we? We're the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Matthew, Olivia, Amy, and Leeroy are on the show, along with the Muds and a bunch of other great people. This is the Constitution of the United States. They will be, we had a crap ton of orders. I think we did like 40 of these, and then I had to reorder.
Wow.
These are exclusive to the Don't Unfriend Me show, and we're getting them back in stock. For those who just ordered the last couple nights on Friday, the order will be here probably Wednesday, Thursday. I'll get them boxed up, shipped out Friday. The person who just did a downvote, you didn't mean to. You got fat fingers. It's okay. Go ahead and fix it and put that upvote in YouTube. It happens. We never have a downvote. Someone just misses it, so I have to tell you, and then you're going to fix it and make it a happy face. Inside the Constitution of the United States, it's got a beautiful inlay with the presidential seal. It's got all the amendments. It's got the Declaration, all the amendments, the Bill of Rights, and the full-fledged Constitution, even with a picture of the Constitution inside. And in the back, it has the signers and the framers of the Constitution of the United States with their photographs and biographies. It's leather-bound. It's 9x6. It's the full version that you would find at the Library of Congress or at the Smithsonian. But here we have a copy. Thank you for fixing your downvote, by the way. Gold foil inlay. We have it on sale at thedumbshow.com. We use it all the time. Last but not least, coffee. Veteran-based, 100%. We have 4547, which is the Donald Trump brand, the FJB, the Moab. This coffee is ridiculously good. It is going to last you. It comes in a full pound bag. It's resealable. When you open it up, you'll understand why. It's the freshest coffee you can get. It is ground and roasted within 72 hours of you receiving it. We don't bag stuff. This comes from a veteran in Wisconsin, has his own coffee company. He's a good buddy of mine I serve with. His name's Matt Hawley. Please go and pick up some coffee. We have not raised our prices. Everyone else is at 26%. And welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Last but not least, thedumbshow.com. You'll see donations coming through. We are 100% funded by you. We track those. My wife, Olivia, is outside. She's off tonight. She's working on putting those in. And if you want to donate, go to thedumbshow.com/donate. Go to PayPal and go to Venmo or mail something, and we would appreciate it. Whew.
You know, I think we should start selling eggs.
Well, I don't know if we can. I think it's going to be a controlled substance soon if this keeps up. I mean, my God, it's funny. I was my breakfast every morning, same breakfast. I have 1 cup of whole egg whites, 2 whole eggs, sunny side up, and then I have a full cup of steel cut oatmeal with blueberries, half a teaspoon of brown sugar with a slice of butter, and that's my breakfast. And I was pulling out of the fridge and I had an egg, and I don't know why I don't drop stuff, but I fumbled an egg, and I thought that the dog looked at me like, and I'm just like, oh. So we lit candles and we performed a seance. We tried to save it, and I just said to Olivia, I said, should I scrape this into the pan off the floor, because this is like, are we going to have enough money to buy the eggs next week if we run out?
Unbelievable
it's insane.
how bad things. Yeah.
How much is it where you're at?
I want to say it's north of, well, Dorothy Lane is where we do a lot of our shopping. So it's north of like $5 for a dozen.
You know how they put those razor blades from Gillette and stuff and Mach 3 turbos and all that shit? Bobby Richardson in 51.99. Best in the business. Love all of you. We love you too. Leroy and I are going to alternate. He'll get the next one and then I'll get the next one. And that's what we'll do because we're talking over each other every time the donations come in. But they lock up those razor blades. They're going to start locking up eggs, dude. This stuff's getting expensive.
Yeah.
Moving on. All right, so let's get into it. We're getting into the A block. The blocks are simple. They're right above Leroy's head almost. And these represent each segment. They're about 20 minutes. And you can go to the outside of the show and find out where we are and what we're going to talk about. Sometimes you're like, you know what? The first hour, maybe it's not my cup of tea. I'll come back the second hour. That's fine. We love doing that. Or stay for the whole thing. We would appreciate it. Self-Deportation Testimonial. These things are all over the place, Leroy. And people are making heartfelt videos, making sure they get just enough tears in their video and make sure their kid is listening. And they're deporting themselves. Now, this is an interesting lady. She doesn't look like she's south of the border. Doesn't speak a lick of Spanish and doesn't look like an illegal. Yet she has decided as a DACA recipient to deport herself, she says. Let's listen to it and we'll go ahead and provide commentary.
Hi, my name is Q and I'm making this video to share my experience.
She's Q? Lady, you might be going to Leavenworth. If you're Q, you're worse than Snowden.
As I am beginning self-deportation. I want to start off by acknowledging the fact that my mother made an immense sacrifice to bring me here as a child.
Illegally.
In search of the American dream.
Illegally.
Are you crying? I'm all right. I'm going to tell a story, okay?
Oh, that changed real quick.
Being in the current situation that I'm in, that I've let her down. Sorry. It's even though I have DACA, right now that doesn't mean anything.
Actually, it means a whole bunch. It means that you are a resident of the United States. So not quite sure what your problem is, but let's keep going.
Only going to take one interaction with one racist ass ICE officer for him to...
Nice language in front of your impressionable daughter. I'm not one to talk, but interesting.
Ship me to who knows where. Guantanamo? There is no guarantee that I'm going to be sent back to my birth country. I have 3 daughters who are U.S. citizens. I cannot risk being separated from them. This is what I came up with last night as far as what I'm gonna have to do. I have to get passports for the girls. I have to somehow manage going to the Mexican consulate to get a Mexican passport for myself or Mexican identification for myself. I have to figure out where in Mexico I'm going to relocate to, how much money I can come up with to leave, what the monthly expenses are going to be, what the travel expenses are going to be, and how long I can live off of the money that I can come up with until I start generating income. I need to determine whether we would fly there or drive there, depending on where I'm going, to figure out if we fly there, then what? What am I going to do about transportation? Where are we going to stay? How are we going to get to where we will be relocating to? So I have to research homeschooling so I can pull my daughters out of the school system now because I don't even feel safe driving them to school. As far as income streams, money's online. So YouTube, TikTok, but I could teach English, and that's where I'm at. I have lived here since I was 7. And do I want to leave? No. I cannot hold an entire conversation in Spanish. There's a lot of words that I don't know how to say in Spanish, and my daughters don't even speak Spanish. But I'm not going to risk being sent to some prison somewhere, and then what happens to them? This is where I'm at, and I will update on the process.
Link the GoFundMe charity site. Come on.
so that you can follow my journey on self-deportation.
Self-deportation.
Do me a favor, leave the iPhone we gave you at the front fucking door on your way out.
I'm at a loss there. I honestly
God.
don't know what to think, because on one hand, she's saying she doesn't want to leave, and on the other hand, she's like, I'm going to leave before what? I mean, there's more than 500,000 DACA recipients here in the United States.
1.5 million.
If there was, like, whatever the proceedings for that are, it's going to be lengthy, and Donald Trump and his entire cabinet have already said that they're going after criminals first, right? So unless your record is, unless you were jacking cars or something, sweetheart, then I don't think you need to worry. This whole thing, obviously this is done for the and you could tell the way the camera was. She started crying. And then as soon as her daughter was like, Mommy, are you okay? She's like, oh, I'm fine, honey. I'm just making a video. And that went right back into it. Like, and the Academy goes too. Just sad.
I deleted the her fundraising page at the end. I cut the video because I'm not gonna promote that shit. They call Donald Trump a grifter. Listen, Donald Trump sells EBT trading cards and Bitcoin and Bibles and okay, you know what? But it's not forcing you to buy it. This is forcing you. This is what is known as an emotional argument. It is an emotional plea and fallacy to get you to. You like our new graphic, dude, down here? You missed it.
I do love it.
We've added some new, just a little bit more consistent flash, and lowered it so the screen's a little bit. Okay, but the point is this: you don't need a passport. Number one, for your children, you're an idiot. Number two, you're not if you literally haven't gotten a job, you don't know how you're going to travel there. You don't know how you're going to pull your kids out of school and fund for that. You don't know how you're going to tackle the language issue. You don't know where you're going to live. You don't know any occupational issues that you're going to have when you get there. You don't even know if the Mexican consulate will accept you. You don't have any. Then you're not self-deporting. What you're doing is you're looking to fund off of this. Go ahead.
Thanks for the workout advice, he says.
We good. Kev will talk about the rest tonight in just a minute. Don't let me forget. But you're not going anywhere.
Right.
And that's like me saying, I'm going to go on a trip to Ireland. Okay, let's do this. Hey, Leroy, I'm going to go on a trip to Ireland next month.
Man, are you okay?
I am, but I don't have a passport. I don't have a plane ticket. I don't have any money. I don't know where I would stay. I'm afraid of flying and swimming and trains. And, in fact, I need Italian food when I get there. And I don't have any time off from work, but I'm going to Ireland.
Brother, I think you might need to make a pit stop at a hospital first. Have you checked your meds lately?
Stop being racist. My Irish Gaelic ancestry doesn't appreciate your English cock-oppressing. You're not going to Mexico. You're not even in the beginning stages of self-deportation. Self-delusion is where you're at.
That raises a good point. What happens in a month's time, 2 months' time, when someone comes back to try and get an update on her status and she's still sitting at home? What are you going to do then? What is she going to do with the money? Is she going to give it back? I'd be curious.
I think we know what's going to happen. She is going to continue her life like every other person does, no matter who the president is, and she will get by. Okay?
Yeah.
She's going to get by. And my hopes and dreams to go to Ireland are quashed. Cindy Harden says it was explained by the new administration that only criminals will be deported. Those with jobs, children in school, and paying taxes have no worries. She's sharing lies. Unfortunately, other unintelligent members of society will believe this and share it and cause disruption of society. Exactly.
Spot on. Spot on.
Very well said. So far, comment of the show. Very well done. We're out of A block, and we are going into B block right after this message.
Jon Stewart.
This is a new recording. See if you can recognize her voice. Listen.
The Dumb Show was built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10+ hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps us more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or mail, every bit helps keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
If you listen to any political commercials in 2024, it was a person's like, Jay Sekulow voted against protecting women's rights. Wanted to ban guns. That's her. She pretty much does every Republican commercial and the voiceover. So she's super popular.
Is it Kathy Griffin?
No. Kathy Griffin cut. I don't know why you would bring her up. And I forever am going to be impotent. Thank you. Kathy, not with all the vodka in Russia would I.
How about Roseanne? Was it Roseanne?
Oh, I'd hit Roseanne just to say I did it. Oh, wait. Sorry. What were we talking about? No, it wasn't Roseanne, dude. She was. I just told you who it was, but you weren't listening, obviously, yet again. I don't know why you keep doing this.
I didn't get a name, but
I'm not going to give you her name because that's not a good thing to do. She does these anonymously because obviously she doesn't want to malign herself with and have people, cut off her business. But I will tell you, she does. If you go listen to any female political ad in 2024, her voice was pretty much there. So she's really, really good at what she does. And I thought she did a good job. Like I said, I didn't want it to feel like Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care. I wanted it to be, soft but not too much. Anyway, moving on. B block is up. Jon Stewart.
Soothing. I'll say that.
Well, it sounded like you just said she was Kathy Griffin, so I don't know how soothing
I was
it
kidding.
was.
I was kidding.
Oh, a joke.
That would be funny though, right? Because she's completely
She
out
needs
of work.
She needs work.
Right. Like how awesome would that be to approach her and say, "Look, we're starting a new podcast. We're wondering if you would like to do the voiceovers for it. Get the fish hook in first, and then let her know that it's a right-leaning thing."
Not a chance. I'd rather go bankrupt. I'd rather have the show shut down than use Kathy Griffin for anything. Dude, she literally, I would catch hepatitis if she did a commercial for us. That's how disgusting that woman is. Okay. Sounds like Megyn Kelly.
The Dumb Show was built on real conversation.
Is it? Dude, if it was Megyn Kelly, I'd be out in her in a minute. I'd be like, that's Megyn Kelly. I haven't left the house in 4 days or showered. I've just listened to that on repeat. Kind of crush on Megyn Kelly.
Pretty.
Oh God, I love Megyn Kelly. And if I ever saw her, I'd just be like, well, everybody, I wouldn't even be able to talk. I'd be like, I'm Megyn Kelly with boobies.
Did you just say boobies?
I said boobies. Mama. Okay, anyway. Megyn Kelly, this is why I've never met you, because she's like, I'm never letting that psycho son of a... and my poor wife is listening going, you
restraining order.
It doesn't sound like Laura Logan. I've actually been on several podcasts with Laura Logan now, and I've got her voice down. She's got the English, Australian thing going on, All right, so B Block has started. Jon Stewart, what do you think of Jon Stewart?
What do I think of Jon Stewart? I think Jon Stewart probably has veterans' best interest at heart, or at least he thinks he does.
Sure.
But he doesn't understand the political spectrum, so he keeps fighting for the wrong side. That's what I think.
Yeah, I like Jon Stewart. I like Jon Stewart when he is on the right side of arguments, but when he's on the wrong side, he just sounds like a sanctimonious dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here is an argument that he's on the wrong side of. And, you know, this is what bothers me. If I ever got to Bongino's level or Stewart's, why are you going after the dregs? Why are you punching down? Like, to me, I would punch up. Like, I don't want to just debate trolls from Facebook forever. I don't want to debate college kids. Like, you see, like, you look at Charlie Kirk and Ben, they debate college kids. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that's
I think a lot of that. I think a lot of that though is for the video clicks, right?
Yeah,
because
but
I think there's a certain portion of society that wants to watch videos where someone quote unquote gets owned, right? And it's in a semi-formal, semi-academic setting.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone knows that college campuses are pretty far left leaning. So I get that one. But to your point, like to just arbitrarily argue with just randos online who you don't know from Adam, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's not my point. My point is that it's like fishing with dynamite. Sure, it gets the job done, but why? You know what I mean? It's like a master angler coming on. He's like, okay, today, folks, we're going to go ahead and put away the lure and the 10-pound line, and going to put away we're going to put the Orvis reel away, and we're going to be fishing with dynamite. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some fishies. Dude, you're a master angler. Act like it. Start going after barracuda. Go after bonefish in the Great Coral Reef. Stop going after pond scum. So that's my point. So when Jon Stewart does, I get what you're saying, but dude, when you've got 20 million followers, you don't need clicks anymore. What you need is content that goes viral and makes people think. I see some of Ben Shapiro's live numbers, and they're not impressive. I'm not. Listen, I told you there's been plenty of years where I have beat him for a month in overall viewership. That's pretty pathetic considering the budget that they have on the Daily Wire. I mean, come on. And that's not my live show. His live show smokes my show. But as far as interactions, I pretty much beat him every single month on interactions on my page versus his. I'll take that. You know what I mean? All right. So here's Jon Stewart. Listen to this. This one's you're gonna fire you up. It's typical Jon Stewart when he is on the wrong side of the equation. Here it is. It's just a condescending bullshit.
Yeah.
You want to ban drag show readings to children?
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Is that free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it
It's
like
not.
it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order. You want to ban drag show readings to children.
Okay, so before we say, and yeah, I know, I'm gonna let you do it. Okay, it's really important for people to understand when it comes to the age groups of 1 to 17, firearms most assuredly are the leading cause of death, but that completely changes once you get to the age brackets of 15 to 17, because it is not the numbers for 10 to 14, 5 to 9, or 1 to 4. Unintentional injuries, drowning, poisoning, falls, malnourishment, birth defects, homicide, cancer, respiratory disease, those are all top 1 through 4. 5 through 8, same exact numbers. 10 through 14, same exact numbers, but heart disease is added into it. And that's just a recent one. Wonder if there's a shot that has something to do with it. Then when you get to 15 to 17, it's firearm deaths, homicide and suicide. So what you're saying is liberal cities with unfettered access to crime and unsolved homicides and murders are the number 1 cause of death for African Americans 15 to 17 years old. correct it. Say it correctly. So if you want to make it over all children, you're full of shit. If you want to make it about an age group, you're absolutely right. The number one killer of children in the U.S. today is actually astronomically bigger than every other category combined, and that is abortion. You sanctimonious fuck. I'm done. There's my emotional argument, Jon Stewart. And Leeroy, you can go ahead and have at him.
Well, there's a lot there to unpack. First of all, great point, Matt. He's basically trying to justify everyone's rights, either between 1A, free speech, and 2A, which is the right to defend yourself. And he's basically saying you don't necessarily, that there's a hypocrisy there, and he's not wrong. Except
right,
that any teenager, any 5-year-old, any one of them can flip on a TV. Most kids today have access to the internet, where they can listen to a radio or have a cell phone, right? So if that is in some way, shape, or form a violation of child safety laws, then you should be asking Jon Stewart, where did the kid get the gun? Who sold them said gun? Who manufactured said gun to give to the kid, right? That is your argument, because it's very much like the point that we made earlier in the show. There are certain things in society that are already law. And whether or not that law is abided by or not, that's a separate argument, right? No 5-year-old, I'm pretty sure it's on the books that, like, a 5-year-old is now supposed to have a 9mm Beretta, right? Probably, right? Child endangerment laws, right? Thank you, Frank Wood.
That's my turn. It's my turn. You're going out of turn. You do this all the time now. You won't even let me get one in. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You don't know. Please, by all means, just
Frank
do it.
Wood says so many cats, and then it went away. I didn't see the rest. I'm sorry.
So little time. Well, that's because you tried to steal it from me again. I'll do the next one, Leeroy. Okay, this is how it works. So what else? I mean, what else? What else about the entire debate sticks out to you? Because why are you trying to? This is the problem with debate, Leeroy, that I have. This isn't a debate. This is an emotional argument. These are all logical fallacies.
Exactly.
And what you're doing is all you're trying to do is make him look like an emotionally stunted child who hates kids. How is that winning? Where's the exchange of ideas? Where are the arguments of, how about we do this? How about we separate gun death and violence with guns and tackle the issue that you say is non-important, because that if it is non-important, it should be infinitesimal and small to deal with, versus an epidemic which is multifaceted and it's a multiplicative situation. It's not, a static situation. Suicide is increasing. Drug homicides are increasing. Violence, unsolved murders are increasing in the United States. Maybe we can't solve all that today, but can we at least say that somebody who is pretending to be a different sex, who is talking about my child's body and their sexual makeup and making life-altering decisions that will never, ever be reversed, might be something that we can all agree upon fairly easily, don't we think?
I absolutely agree with that. And I would go so far as to say what Jon Stewart doesn't even realize that he did is introduced a classic straw man, right? Because gun deaths as opposed to drag queens are completely irrelevant points. And you're talking about two completely separate rights, and they are rights. That's not the point. You're conflating liberties with death. And that's the definition of that might be more of a red herring, actually.
No, it's a straw man. It's a straw man. It really is a straw man, because when there's multiple in there. There's emotional arguments and emotional fallacies. There's straw man and also a red herring, which is you're trying to take a stat to distract from the original point, which is your original conversation was about drag queens, and you tried to change it into gun violence, which is a red herring.
Yeah. Yeah.
A straw man is when you go ahead and you equate two completely separate topics, not to distract, but to make a false equivalency. There's the difference between the two. So it's a red herring, it's a straw man, it's a logical fallacy, and it's an emotional platitude. But really, you're also an insufferable dick for assigning indignities onto this guy, like it's his fault that gun deaths and suicides happen. But once again, if you take out suicides and you take out violent crime from the inner city, take a look at how many gun deaths. Well, when you compare that to the 500 million violent, felonious crimes that take place, that would not take place or do not take place because of gun ownership, and you look at the 1 million different crimes that are not going to end up into physical violence but are still felonies, breaking and entering, larceny, carjacking, etc., you're talking about 1.5 million crimes that have something to do with a firearm are negated versus the amount of deaths that we have, which are a lot. But you take away homicide, and you take away inner city and accidental shootings from negligent parents, you have a completely different conversation. The amount of AR-15s that are used in mass shootings, they reflect less than 12% of mass shootings, less than 12%. But the way you hear it on the news is that everyone has an AR-15. My fucking 12-year-old is taking an AR-15 to school. These are the lies. Just like unarmed black shootings is completely a fallacy. On average, over the last 10 years, 13 to 15 annually, more white people are shot unarmed than black people. So is it reverse racism? Is that what it is? A bunch of black cops are going after white people? No, it's a matter of that a cop is a lot less likely to shoot a black person because of the repercussions than they are a white person. And that's a fact. At least that's what the numbers tell us.
You know, just because somebody else commits an act of violence with their right, doesn't mean that I'm supposed to give up my right.
Sure.
Correct?
That's exactly it.
That would be the same thing as, we all know that, like, if you yell fire in a crowded theater, like, you're not, that's a violation of the law. You cannot do that, right?
Well, you can, but there's punishment for it.
Well, there's punishment, right? So you're going to be punished for that. Now, if somebody does that, right, and causes a stampede, a bunch of people get killed, okay, does that mean that because that person abused their First Amendment right, that you, Matt, or you, the listener, are supposed to give up your First Amendment right?
Right.
Well, and I think that's where Jon Stewart is missing it.
Well, and Jon Stewart's missing this, is that when they said, isn't it freedom of speech for a transgender person to talk to a child? No, it's not.
No.
They have no right to speak to a child. There's no right in the Constitution. You have the right to say whatever you want, but there are repercussions for what you do. And if there was a time, especially about 20 years ago, where if you came up to a child and started talking about their penis and vagina and what they had and what they didn't, you would go to the fucking booby hatch. And you would be arrested for sexualizing a child. Now it's like, we're just educating. No, you're indoctrinating. And you're telling our children that, and confusing them about who they are and who they aren't. It's a completely different thing. So his entire argument fell apart the moment he said, well, they have a right. I would say, no, they don't. Show me in the Constitution where transgender people have a right to talk to kids. What you're saying is that the Constitution is specific about anything you say is protected. That is not true. You can say anything you want, but there are ramifications for the things you say if they break the law or remove somebody else's rights. And sexualizing a child is immediately circumventing the parents' rights with that kid. So what you're doing is against the law. You are literally grooming a child. Give me a break. Jon Stewart, and see, this is why Jon Stewart wants to punch below his weight class. He wouldn't take me on. Bring Jon Stewart. I've seen him with Bill O'Reilly, and Bill O'Reilly just was like, he just let him wash all over him. And I'm like, listen, you're a comedian. If you want to sit here and try to have me compete with you at a high-speed level with quips, I'm going to lose. Just like if you're going to go ahead and try to talk to me about the Constitution and government, I'm going to spank you. So why don't we have a conversation that are the merits of the case? You can use your humor. You can use your quips. I'll use mine. and my photographic memory to go ahead and have a conversation. But the moment that it turns you versus me, completely negates the entire conversation.
Mhm.
This should be you arguing your points, me going ahead and arguing my points, finding out where we agree so we can understand how to solve where we disagree. That's what a debate is.
Right.
It's not about making you look smaller than me. Go ahead, Leroy.
I would also say his free speech debate was way off topic as well. If you stick a pervert on a playground and have that person just talk to an 8-year-old girl, what Jon Stewart is basically saying is that's constitutionally protected, right?
Right.
Unless it's his kid.
That's right.
Right?
Right, which he doesn't have. So
that's the
point. Like me talking about puppies.
You stick a pervert on a playground, somehow that's a constitutionally protected right. All of a sudden, you put them like in drag queen attire, and we're supposed to see a shifting in the. See what I'm saying?
It doesn't.
It's just slimy.
This is why individual rights trump everything. It's not about collectivism. And when you go ahead and try to apply a one-size-fits-all, somebody will find the loophole. That is why individual rights are based upon the individual merits of the case. Always. And if you ask any Supreme Court justice, sitting or retired, or we hold a freaking seance for freaking Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the merits of the case are always based upon the individual. And that's it. It is never the collective, because that is what the state does. The people versus whoever.
That's funny.
The Supreme Court's designed to uncover the individual merits of the case and how it impacts the individual rights of every American. That is the way they need to do things. Go ahead, buddy.
It's funny you say that, because available at the dumbstore.com, you can get a copy of the Bill of Rights. And you're right. You know, it's funny. There's nothing in there about collective groups. It's all about the individual. That's
Isn't that
amazing.
Interesting? And it's the dumbshow.com. I think we might own the Dumb Store too. If we don't, I need to go buy it. Kelly says, can you merge with the Dan Bongino show because you are awesome and speak truth as he does? How does that all work, as I follow you both and will miss him so much? Listen. People said that last night. We were talking about it last night. I mean, and multiple people said, dude, you and Bongino have a lot in common. The way you talk about things, the way he doesn't cuss as much as I do, but I don't really cuss that much anymore. But listen, I'm not Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is a different cut. And although we have done similar things in our past, he is a frontline, blue collar, beyond the wire type of guy. And although I've spent time outside the wire, Leroy and I are very similar, is that we've spent time inside the wire and outside the wire. Dan Bongino is an outside the wire guy. And I am more of an analytics and argument based upon facts that are devoid of emotion, but always curt. And that's where Bongino and I are similar, is that I deliver very similar. He doesn't kiss your ass. He tells you like it is. He loves you and appreciates you, but he has no problem to tell you to take a flying leap off of a short cliff. And that's what I love about Bongino, is that he treats his people, he loves his people, but he has no problem telling them when they're wrong. I like that. It's important because it's never personal. Anyway, watch more of our show and you will get that hole filled. I have a feeling that Dan is going to do this job. I think his network will continue. He's going to find someone to come in. Rush Limbaugh has brought several different people. Glenn Beck has brought Justin Barclay in. He'll find somebody to fill the gap. I don't think it will be me, and unfortunately, but I'll tell you what, he'll find the right person. And I love Bongino. I've always liked the guy. Moving on to C block, getting out of B block. Anything more on this? Or are you okay? I think we handled it.
No, I'm good. Yeah. This was a good one.
Outstanding. I love this one. C block it is.
The Dumb Store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews. Use code DUMB10 to save 10%. Visit thedumbshow.com today. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, so I guess Bongino's trying to guest host. I would love that, but there's no way Bongino's going to come to a show like mine and say, "Hey, I'm just being realistic, folks. I don't have the following yet. We've got a very big following, but 250,000, that's kind of scratching the surface of top 5 to 10% of podcasts. Our podcast itself, the audio version, actually does extremely well. But it would take a lot more. Plus, my opinions, they're not always the most popular with conservatives because I like to challenge people's thinking. And sometimes, I'm just going to say it because I like Dan a lot. I'm not coming down on him. But he says things to appease his audience, and I don't do that. I just don't do it. It's not my thing. Joanne says, thanks for keeping it real. You got it, Joanne, $20. You get the next one, Leroy. That's how the count works.
Wow.
Going in,
what a dick punch. All right, fine.
going into C block. Democrats rinse, repeat, and fail. And, they are... Isn't Dan Levin getting a news position in the White House? I don't know. I'm not getting it. I'll tell you that much. There's no way the White House is going to allow me to come in there. There's no way. They will hate me. They will hate me. But anyway, liberals are doing it again. What's new? It's always doom and gloom. It's always something. Here is Jayapal, one of my favorites. And then I've got a couple of others that are talking about millions of people are going to be deported, but they don't tend to bring up that millions of people were deported under Obama and Biden. And they didn't care about that. Let's listen to this.
We can't let them continue their lies and their distractions. We can't let them deport the millions of families across this country who have been doing.
Kelly, just like the commercial says, you never have to apologize for not being able to donate. We get it. It's tight out there. We have plenty of Dumb Nation followers. And with the rotation of people, I mean, we have, a couple of thousand that watch these shows. We always have about 10,000 views per show by the end of the month. If 10% of that gave $5, we would be great. So we appreciate you. Watch it, share it. That's what's important to us. And if you want to donate, great. And there's a reason why Dan and those guys don't ask for donations, because they make $20 million a year. I don't. So here it is.
The work that keeps our economy going every day. We can't let them scapegoat and criminalize immigrants who contribute, who are our neighbors, our friends, our churchgoers, our community around us that we deeply love. Immigrants are us. Immigrants are us, and we all deserve respect and dignity.
One of the words isn't included in that statement.
That's right. If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it. If you look at your homes, think about who built them.
So racist.
If you look at your vulnerable elders in your kids.
If I look at my lawns, find out who smoked it. I mean, mowed it.
I need to know who's going to get me my free labor so I can have them picking oranges instead of cotton.
Listen, we can't have those little bastard chinks making our phone anymore. Who's going to pick our vegetables next?
Who's taking care of them?
Man, liberals always getting down to the old argument. It's free labor versus paid labor. Excuse me, you mean slave labor versus a whip and chains. It always comes down to slavery with them and cheap labor. Isn't it funny? They continue to beat this drum. First of all, millions of people. Donald Trump, first of all, something you need to know. The gotaways today, 200. That is a record, the lowest it's been in 15 years. So the deportations you're seeing, there's nested people who are in the communities who are not causing crime. Those people are going to be hard to catch. The ones that come out and stick their heads up, we're going to get them on fresh crimes. They constantly jump to different houses, different neighborhoods. So right now, the deportations may not seem as strong. Well, the reason why is because we're not allowing in 20,000 people a day. Right. So it's a lot harder to do deportations because we're not catching as many people on the border. So for people like, oh, I got to understand. It's because, listen, Liberals, stop pretending that you care about the border. You left it open for fucking 8 years under Obama and 4 years under Biden. Give me a break. Here's another video of them melting down once again. And this time they're calling for Donald Trump's arrest. Oh my God. These people, they're such crazy asses. Georgia ranking member, Mr. Johnson. Gabby Johnson is right about Reverend Johnson being right. Reverend.
If a president...
Howard Johnson is right.
Howard Johnson is right about Gabby Johnson being right. Reverend.
Believe
the sheriff
failed or refused to comply with a court.
No, goddammit, the sheriff is
What ruling?
What's he saying?
They could be held.
The sheriff is near.
The sheriff is near with a laurel and hearty handshake for our
So bad.
Fuck you. See that? Steady as a rock. Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
What were you expecting?
That's right.
Welcome. Good to see you. You have to remember, these people are the common clay of the earth. I love
morons.
So good. Yeah.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Oh, dude, we gotta stop doing this. We could do this all night. Come on now, stop. Knock it off. Grow up.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
In contempt of court, theoretically, but it would be up to the U.S. Marshal Service, which is a part of the Justice Department, to be the enforcement arm for the federal court.
Is it true what they say about the way you people are gifted? Oh, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true.
Paul Buchan. Paul Buchan.
Courts, is that correct?
Wrong movie, but still good enough.
Your hypothetical would have to play itself out.
It would be the U.S. Marshals who fall under the Department of Justice who would have to carry out the contempt order.
It is the guy who said like Diego Garcia was going to flip over. No, it was Guam. Guam would flip over. Oh, God. Oh, boy.
He's got to be a flat
So
earther.
what would
Telegram from Mongo. Me, Mongo.
happen if the U.S. Marshal Service, under the command of the Justice Department at the direction of the president, refused to carry out a court order of contempt?
Spit it out, dude.
What would then be the state of our democracy?
Again, I'm here on behalf of the judicial.
We would be a republic, and the only reason we're a democracy in any words is our elected representatives, which is our voting system. So I don't know what your question is, Senator.
Conference to talk about the shortage of judges that we have, and I would comment on those needs in particular.
Oh my God! So
Yeah,
Leeroy,
he obviously got that word salad from a KAMALA soundbite, right?
Oh my God, I've got another KAMALA soundbite, but I'm not going to put it on. Dude, when are they going to learn? This isn't going to win you anything. I mean, seriously. Listen, Democrats, I'm for hire. I will help you. I'm serious. I will tell you what not to do anymore. I have got a political strategy. Here it is. There's a couple things that Donald Trump is missing in this equation. Okay? There's nothing about infrastructure. Not one thing. So how about we focus truly on salmon farms? Oh, no, not salmon farms. No. Rerouting the pygmy swallow from San Juan Capistrano. No. Well, there's some fetid moss in Alaska that we can't step in, so we can't drill oil. Okay. This is the shit that drives people crazy. Okay? America doesn't care about the spotted owl. We don't care. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares about Lulu and Zing Zing the panda. Nobody cares about the American vulture, which is not a fucking condor. It's a bird that eats dead shit. And it can die. We don't care. We don't care about rigs off the coast because the only elitist rich fuckers live there. What we care about is cheap gas, eggs that are a good price, education for our children that's not indoctrination but based on STEM, And we care about the safety of our country, so we're not speaking Sputnik or some fucking Muslim comes over here and pops off a frickin' nuclear dirty bomb. If you can focus on just being somewhat to the center of those policies, Democrats will win in 2028. But you guys can't.
Absolutely.
You're so far left. You're almost to fascism.
Yeah. No, we talked about that on the show just the other day.
Insanity.
We talked about how they have moved so far left that opened up the middle so that most moderate Americans with anybody with a grain of common sense was watching this happen. Was watching these far lefties go off the reservation, and we're thinking to themselves, look, the Democrat Party is literally leaving my values behind. The only thing I have left is a Donald Trump vote. I don't like it. Nobody did. A lot of people probably had to hold their breath while they pulled that handle, and that's fine. Still won.
You're not going to win on this. The fear-mongering, kumbaya, stick a flower in a frickin' muzzle of a rifle and fear that our democracy, nobody cares. People are sick and they understand the fiscal. They balance their own checkbooks. They see their own dollar not stretching. They know you're fucked too. The fact that they are struggling, they know the government is struggling.
Yeah,
and Americans are not stupid. They don't care about a transgender Jewish lesbian who has a freaking conjoined twin out of their ass. Nobody cares. Those people are insignificant. What we care about are our families, our loved ones, and our neighbors, and that is as far as we go. We don't care about anyone's cause. Black people have had it tough. Vietnamese have had it tough. Indians have had it tough. White people have had it tough. Everyone's had it tough. We don't care anymore. Fuck reparations. Fuck civil rights. Fuck the Klan. Fuck Nazis. Fuck World War I. Fuck the Great Depression. It's over. We're focused on the future. We got an asteroid coming at us in 2032. Can we solve that problem and get SpaceX off the schneid and NASA and figure out how we're going to divert that son of a bitch before we literally get hit by something going 352,000 miles an hour? That's the size of Texas. Probably something we should focus on.
The last, I looked it up, the last 4 Democrat presidents, or at least candidates, have all had strong lines in the sand with regard to immigration, illegal immigration. All 4 of them, both Hillary Clinton, Biden, George Clinton, Bill, and
the
Obama.
Parliament of Funk. The Parliament of Funk.
All had hard lines against immigration. And here's the one guy who comes in and says, look, you guys have been saying it for years. I'm going to say it and actually do it. And then they try to hang him out to dry and fight tooth and nail to keep that wall from being bored, from being built. My bad. And so you're just like, where are you within your own value system? Because if all you're going to do is lie to the American people and use the same taglines over and over again every 4 years, then it's not. People know things are not getting any cheaper. Inflation is out of control. The debt is through the roof, right? People know, and they vote with their checkbooks, and that's exactly what happened. People see that it got better under Trump.
$300,000 is what the average taxpayer owes. The average taxpayer owes in a family, which is 2 adults and 2 18-year-olds ready to move out. Okay? You're $1.2 million per household. You owe more to the government than your house is worth in most occasions. So when I'm upset by this, it's Democrats. Nobody cares about your Hallmark after school special. Jenny needs to eat something. Nobody cares. That's all you've got. You've got emotional arguments that are all about some sort of stupid after school special. Like, my son did a line of cocaine and went to a kegger. It's an emotional platitude. Nobody cares. Your individual stories do not make collectivism necessary.
Correct.
That's it. The individual story is the hook. It is the bait. The individual story states that's the ones we need to listen to, because usually that's the collective majority. If one family is experiencing something and it's government regulated or state regulated, most all other families are experiencing. Give you an example. The lockdowns impacted kids pretty much the same way. Not many kids came out of it better. Test scores went down by like 78%. Those 22 are outliers. Eggs. Egg prices are a big concern for everybody. The border. Abortion was actually a very big topic in 2022. It wasn't in 2024. It fell flat. Religion. These are common things that are individually impacting the collective. Those are the things that Democrats need to focus on. But what they do is they focus on the microcosm. They focus on the one-off. A Jewish, transgender, lesbian, one-legged person with sickle cell anemia, and they try to apply that to everybody in the United States, and it fails because, want to know why? Because white people are like, this is stupid. Black people are like, this is stupid. Mexican people go, this is stupid. Muslims go, this is stupid. And this is what Democrats do, is that they curtail to the bottom ratio of the country. But these are the loudest. These are the people who burn shit down. These are the people who Soros funds. These are the people in the prominent position in the elites. Why do you think Tim Cook is putting $500 billion in the U.S.? Why do you think Dorsey is backing Trump? Why do you think Soros is backing Trump? Why do you think Mark Cuban's now defending Trump and bashing Democrats? Because they know if they don't, they're going to lose billions. Because nobody fucking cares about this bullshit. Black people have the same rights as whites. Women and men have the same rights. Muslim and Jew have the same rights. We've done this shit. We're done with it. It's time to move on from socio-stereotypes and archetypes and move to economic and socioeconomics and fundamental geopolitics that reinforce Western ideology around the world and keep us safe. Those are the things we need to focus on. And theology, and what's in between our legs and what our kids grow up, that is not you. That is my house. Stay the fuck out of my house. It's my right to privacy. My child is mine. And as long as I'm not beating them or starving them, you get to stay the out of my life. I will take care of my kid. You take care of your budget that is overinflated to be ranked 40th among civilized countries and having the #1 cost per pupil in the United States. You focus on getting that down. And I'll focus on what my kid learns about their sexuality. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
We've been saying this for a long time, is that the left thinks institutionally and the right thinks individually. And the left has capitalized and succeeded very well on this victimhood mentality. But that's not going to work anymore. Straight up. It is. You can only be a victim to so many groups, right? And because they do think in terms of groupthink, right? In terms of institutional, what is best for the population in general, rather than looking at mom and pop shops, rather than looking at people's individual rights, rather than looking at Matt or myself or you, the listener, they don't do that. They clump people together and they say, this is what's going to be best for this demographic. This is what's going to be best for the 18 to 39 African-American females, right? They have to do that. And then what they do is they look at how that person or how that demographic is a victim of all of the other groups. That's been their strategy for like 200 years.
I didn't mean Soros. I meant Bezos. I apologize. I slipped.
JD Stillwell, 1501. Great show as always. Thank you.
Thanks, JD, buddy. We appreciate it. Yes, not Soros. It's Bezos. Bezos. It's been a long week. So I apologize though. So this is for me.
Look, she's gonna cry again. Oh, if I only had a brain.
Sorry about that. D Block is up next.
Join WimKen.com, the social media platform built for free speech and true connection. No censorship, no algorithms controlling your feed, just genuine conversations and a commitment to protecting your rights. Sign up today at webkin.com and take back your voice. Tell them Matt and the Dumb Show sent you.
No, Soros is not backing Trump. Bezos, sorry. We're not invading Canada. Okay, Canadians, I understand why you were pissed. Okay, I get it. 51st state, I understand you guys got a little sensitive. You got a little butt hurt up in gay North Dakota. We get it, okay? We're not going to invade your country. First of all, it's counterintuitive because we don't want to be that close to Russia, okay? Just not a good idea. We like having you guys be the fodder in case Russia decides to come up from the north, okay? So we love that. Canadian Rockies make a great defense. We love that. We love the icy tundra that your country is 8-9 months out of the year. We're sorry that we hurt your feelings, okay? We're not going to invade your country. Donald Trump wants to ensure that the Americas are the strongest continents in the world. He wants Venezuela to be stabilized. He wants Colombia to get its shit together. He wants Mexico to get it together. He wants Canada to stop sucking ass of China and the socialists and the Maoists. We want the Americas to be the strongest continents in the world. And once that happens, Donald Trump's long-term plan is Africa. And I'm letting you know it. I'm telling you right now that the last 2 years of his presidency will be pretty much all focused on Africa. We don't want Canada. There's only like a certain few parts that we would actually take. We have enough California and New York, so we don't need any more. Okay? We don't need Toronto. We don't need Montreal. There's a couple of spots that we would take. Okay? But this shit is unhinged. And second, your daughter and son have never brought this up to you. I have kids. You know what my daughter did? She walked in. She goes, "Hey, Dad, school was great." I'm like, "What'd you do, sweetie?" She goes, "Choreo was awesome." I said, "What?" She goes, "Choreo was awesome." I'm like, "What the fuck is choreo, Hayden?" She goes, "It's a drama term in theater." And I said, "No, it's not. It's a half of a word." She goes, "No, Dad, it's called choreo." And I said, "No, Hayden, it's not." And she goes, "Yes, it is. It's a word." I said, "It's actually choreography, and the etymology is choreos from the word that's Greek. Graphy is to graph or to plot or to assign things to certain areas, which is a dance with assignments of a training. That is what choreography words is. It's not choreo. You kids are fucking lazy, and you cut half of the word off, and you called it choreo." And her argument was, "Well, everybody says it." And I said, "I'm 51 years old, and I've never heard it in my life." This is the way Canada is. You guys are blowing this out of proportion. And because something was said you are all now repeating it. And Canada, I love you guys, but you trust your media way too much, and you need to abandon them. At least the United States, 50% of us, most of us don't trust the media at all. In fact, more people trust the Senate, the current Senate, for the first time in 50 years than the media. Senate increased in popularity, surprisingly enough, which is just scary because they're both
awesome.
Yeah, nobody trusts the media. Watch this and just enjoy, Leroy, because you got this part of the segment. This is yours. Merry Christmas.
A few weeks ago in Saskatoon, I met a little 4-year-old girl. She asked me whether I could prevent Trump from invading our country.
Oh my God, no, it didn't happen ever. No 4-year-old said that. You know what they said? "I made poopy." Or they said, or "No, I'm not eating my vegetables." "No, I want to take a nap."
Yeah.
Mommy, I just was wondering if you could please break down the ramifications from an economic and geopolitical standpoint of possibly Donald J. Trump invading our loved northern Canada. Because, Mommy, I don't want to be put into enslavement, and I feel that a theocracy with a somewhat pseudo version of liberalism might be better than a capitalistic republic. Mommy, please don't let it happen.
Damn, Susie. What did you learn in school today?
And that's why I am standing to lead the Liberal Party and to become the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Good luck.
Trump represents the greatest threat to Canada since World War II.
What?
He is threatening us with an economic war, and that's nothing new. The last time that he was president, he threatened us too, and at the end of the day, I succeeded in protecting our economy. But this time, Trump's threats are worse. He wants to turn Canada into the 51st state, and it's no joke. That is why he is supporting Vladimir Putin's criminal attempt to redraw Ukraine's borders. Trump wants to redraw our borders too. We need a leader who understands the seriousness of these challenges and how to face them. A leader that can respond and defend everyone in our wonderful country. I will fight for us. I will fight for Canada. And together, we will win.
She looks like a soccer mom that's been tossed around by the entire faculty.
I was just thinking, you know what she would be better at? Making me a sandwich. Because, first of all, there's been no country who has benefited more from the sheer presence of American military might than Canada. Canada has, like, their military can be literally 1/100th the size of ours, and it wouldn't make a squirt of piss a difference because they just happen to be our next door neighbor. They have benefited more than any other country from being neighbors with us. And I'll also say this, and I understand her argument. Maybe she's, because she's a liberal, she feels like, oh my God, the far right, it's Trump. Oh my God, he's serious. Maybe they're going to invade. You're an idiot. You had an actual movement within your own country in Alberta for the last 15 years of people who wanted to join the United States, Alberta specifically, because they were taxed at a higher rate than the rest of Canada. Since then, I think that's changed. Now it's the Northwest Territories. But the point is that for a long time, Alberta, because they had so many shale and oil fields going on there, that Canada was imposing a higher tax on Albertans. And Albertans were like, no, this is wrong. Maybe we should just join the United States. That movement went so far that it ended up on their license plates as a petition. That's a true story. So when this lady is freaking out about, oh my God, Donald Trump wants to invade, he doesn't have to. You've got a huge movement of people within your own country who already want to join the U.S. Oh,
not just that.
That's crazy.
And that's a huge one. But here's the cold hard truth. Canadians, my gay North Dakotans, listen to me.
Yeah.
Hear me.
You holder.
If this is true and Donald J. Trump is going to invade, that woman wants to take all your guns.
That's a good point.
Now you know who to vote for. Hi, baby. Nope, she wants family.
That's a really good point.
So she wants to take all your guns. So hey, Canada, do what's right, eh? Do what's right. Vote and put in somebody important who understands what civil liberty means, who understands what the Constitution means, that understands what protected rights for the individuals, what a republic represents, and get rid of the theocratic, monocratic, monotheistic fucking leadership that is being influenced by French people and influenced by the bleeding heart liberals in the elitist cities.
Think
Stop
about the message
doing what Chicago is doing. Chicago put in Lightfoot, and now they put in another douche plow who's at a 6%. You had a moderate Democrat. I told you about him, and I told you to vote for him. They're going to do the same thing, and they go, God, what is going on with, why are these politicians so bad? It's not the politician. It's the fucking policies. It's leftist policies. Why did I get a downvote, you fucking Canuck? Listen to me. I just got a Canuck who downvoted me on YouTube. It wasn't an accident. You're upset with me because you keep voting for leftists in your country and you're sucking off the tit of our government. Do you want to know why you guys have health care? Because if you had to pay for your own fucking defense, the first thing the Canadian government would cut is health care. If we got invaded tomorrow from the southern border and China and Russia and South Africa, but they decided to come up from the southern border and all of a sudden we started speaking Taki Tiki Tao. The first thing you guys would do would cut universal health care and quadruple your military budget. Give me a break.
Think about
this relationship is symbiotic. Give me a break. Go ahead, buddy. Say it.
Think about the messaging that's baked into that. We here in the United States, all citizens are guaranteed the right to defend yourself. We have a right to guns, right? Canada seems to fight that tooth and nail. And I believe there's a fair segment of people up there who do own things like shotguns or rifles, not so much pistols. I think you really have to apply for that, and it's a lengthy process. But what that says, despite the fact that you have a military that is 1/100th the size of ours, what that says is that your Canadian government does not trust you to defend yourself. It does not trust you to defend your country. They say that you can't do it.
If I was a Canadian, I would be putting a gun in every single person's hand in Canada.
Yeah.
If I was, why? Well, because that would make every foreign invader pause. And it would make us that much stronger as a group of continents. South America, you can't do that because holy shit. I mean, you would have government overthrow. But once they do that and they replace the governments, an armed society is a safe society. I am not going after Canadians. I love my Canadians. Why did you just downvote me, Canada? Holy shit. It's a fuck. No, hold on a second. Why are you downvoting me? You fucking morons. I know I've got a bunch of Canucks watching who are lefty elitists because you guys love to fucking be on my YouTube channel. Why don't you call in, you fucking no-sack maple leaf? 804-212-2208. Stop downvoting. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why leftist ideologies. Tell me why DEI. Tell me why Canada's spending money on shit that they don't need, giving money in the back doors to China, while you guys are throttling people's bank accounts, removing firearms from your free protected society, moving more to an autocratic society, moving more to the left than any other major country besides the fucking US the moment Joe Biden was gone. Why? Why is all of Europe going right? Why are they going alt-right? Why are they going back closer to fascism than ever before? Why? Because they're losing their country and they know that they need to put in people who are literally going to deport and fight terrorists. Europe is losing its identity. Why do you think this is happening? And I don't agree with all these party leaders. Some of these are fucking extreme to the right. Why do you think Europe's doing this? Because they would rather get closer to Nazism than Maoism. And that is terrifying. That is fucking terrifying. They should want to be center. They should want to be Western ideology, liberalism with capitalism, classic liberalism. But they are willing to go closer to fascism in order to escape Maoism. That should scare everybody. Giving me a down vote. Fuck. My gay North Dakotan friends.
You know what's funny is that Mexico is a great example of this. Mexico has some really strict gun laws, really strict, right? But you never hear of some place like North Korea or Russia or China ever invading Juarez. Why? Why?
I wonder. Why? Because they're armed. Admiral Yamamoto said it best. He said, I'm afraid we've woken a sleeping giant, and also said that behind every blade of grass is an armed American.
Yep.
This is the truth. This is why we've got 3,000 of miles to our left of water, 3,000 to the right. We have a southern inhospitable, dry, rocky, mountainous freaking desert. And to the north, we have a cold, frozen tundra, which is known as Canada. Kirsty, thanks for subscribing to the Don't Unfriend Me Show over on Facebook. So I understand my Canadian brothers and sisters are a little upset with me. I respect that. Okay? I get it. It's not okay. I understand this bothers you. But Justin Trudeau isn't a man. He is an effeminate little vagina. No, a vagina is good. He's a mangina. He's a prison vagina. He has no spine. He flip-flops. He runs to Donald Trump in Florida and then runs back and talks a bunch of shit to his media. He puts the thumb on people who disagree with him. He wants to de-arm your entire country. Do you know how many guns have been banned in Canada and how many models? You guys literally are one step away from a tyrannical government with no choice but to flee to the south. Because that's your option. If you don't believe me, ask Ukraine and Poland.
If I'm not mistaken, I think most of the Canadian police, all they have is like batons and tasers and stuff. They don't have anything substantial.
I'm just telling you guys. I'm just telling you, man. I promise you this. You may not like America right now, but if this happens and they disarm Canada and the leftist globalists actually wind up taking over and they suspend elections, we all know what the shit they're playing. And if that happens, you're going to look to us. And we will go there. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to be like, hey, what's going on? We fucking told you. Yep. Why did you downvote me on YouTube? Dicks. Be right back.
Raw, unfiltered, and fearless.
Well, start over.
Big tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps us more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or mail, every bit helps keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
And we'll take some of those Canadian dollars, too, for your frickin' downvote. Seriously, let's get some contrition going on for your horrible... Listen, it's not my fault. I'm just telling you the truth. I love Canada. I really do. I love Canada, and I love my Canadian listeners, and I really, truly love them. I can't stand to see... I said this a long time ago. You guys are 5 years ahead of us as far as the degradation of your country. And yeah, I truly believe you are. You've had less leftist influence longer. We had a break with Trump. But if it would have went from like Obama to Biden and then another Biden, we would be right with you. But we had that break with Trump and we broke free. And now we're ripping it apart. If you guys get another lefty fucking loon as your prime minister, you guys are toast. You're toast. You will never resemble the Canada that you are or were. Period. Go ahead, buddy. They're censoring my show. You can't even catch my show in a lot of places in Canada. You guys are my second biggest audience. It's incredible.
You know, for the Canadians who are on the show right now, you should know something. Matt and I have the exact same philosophy, and that is that, you know, Matt and I, we actually love Canadians. We love Russians. We love North Koreans. We love China. What we don't like is the oppressive governments that affix themselves and place themselves over the individuals within those countries.
100%.
I love the Canadians. I absolutely love the Canadians, and I think that they should have every right that I have to say what the hell I want, to defend myself as I see fit. If you are an individual in Canada and you don't subscribe to this groupthink type bullshit, philosophy, then you have no choice but to be at least moderate.
That's right. At least.
If you recognize that you should at least be moderate, that then when you see your own country and Justin Trudeau and this loony bird who was just talking about becoming prime minister, when you see these people telling you that you should live in fear and give up your guns, and oh, by the way, just like the news stories in the last 2-3 years of the transgender parents who go to court, reference their child in an incorrect gender, and then they place that father or mother in prison for using the incorrect pronouns. You don't think that that's too far left? You don't think that you should be fighting for some semblance of your own freedoms of speech? This is what we're talking about. I love the Canadians, but your government is a problem.
And the last thing I'll say, people are like, well, the conservatives aren't much better. The conservatives will work with Trump.
Yeah.
The conservatives are like the uniparty here. It took us a full 4 years to get Republicans to toe the line. Okay? And we're still fighting it. But you need to have the power in order for Trump to come in and help. Because it comes down to this. Even the best conservative is still going to have to fight with Parliament. Yep. You're going to have to make generational change here. It's going to take time. But the good news is that we have a conservative president, and I believe we will have a conservative president for the next 13 years. I think you're going to see Donald Trump take it to 2028, and then up to 2032 and 2036, we'll have a Republican president. I believe this. We may lose the House and Senate, but I think this is going to be the next 12-year run. It happens. And every 20, 30 years, you see this, a 12-year run of one party. I have a good feeling you're going to see that here. This will be very much like Reagan, Bush. It'll be Trump, somebody. Okay? So I understand where there's a lack of trust for the Conservative Party in Canada, but at least conservatives want limited government. At least conservatives can be a balance of this unfettered, unchecked power. This is a better option than putting a leftist in there. Like I said, we don't all love our conservatives and Republicans either, but it's a better option than people who are trying to dismantle our Constitution. We got to shift. Here is a video you need to see. Donald Trump, this is in overtime. Donald Trump went ahead and authorized Washington, D.C. visits. We've got a couple of ins in the White House, and we're going to be doing a visit soon. Can't wait to do it. But here is just something. This is why Trump is great. Right here. This is why. Okay. Maybe not. Hold on.
What's it doing?
It happens.
Yeah. Mine does
it happens.
Too.
Yeah. It happens. And we are back. When you're streaming as much information as I am, you get hiccups once in a while.
Is everybody having a good time? Yeah. Nothing like the White House. No matter where you go, you know, the biggest people come here, and they all have beautiful offices, but when they walk into the Oval Office, there's nothing like it. They look and some of them actually start crying, and these are business leaders. I don't want you to see that. We can do better than that, but some of them actually get emotional. But just have a good time. We told you to get an extra special tour. You're the first one of the year. Get an extra special tour, especially for this guy right here. Good. Any questions? Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great. We love our country, right?
Yes, sir.
We're war, and we're trying to get rid of this horrible Ukraine-Russia war, and I think we're doing a lot. We're dealing with both parties and Europe, and I think we'll get it done. It should have never started. It should never, ever have started. And if it did start, it could have been ended in a week, not after 3 years of bloodshed and millions of people killed and all of that great architecture knocked down. You know, those beautiful spires are all knocked down and gone, thousands of years old. It's terrible. But That's what it is, but now we're here, we're going to solve the problem. But I want to thank you very much for coming. The tour is so great. We've done such a good job. First Lady worked very hard on making it perfect, and I think you're going to really love it. And I heard you were here, and I said, let's stop by and say hello. And it's a group of very smart-looking people, I must say. Very smart. Maybe someday you'll be here as the president, right? Somebody in this group has a chance. Have a good time. Have a great tour. And you're going to give them a special tour, okay? You're going to get a special tour. Have fun, everybody.
Right. It's definitely cool, man. Nice. And we're not going to spend a lot of time. It's an overtime thing. By the way, folks, $140 is where we're at for our goal. It is 2041. The dumb show always does well. So we're not too worried about it. Just have some big things for the future. So we're always trying to hit our goal. Remember, Facebook decided to go ahead and deplatform our monetization. And although things are getting better, we have 350 on right now. We've got 200 people on between Facebook, YouTube, and X. And then we have another 125 on Rumble and over on Wimkin. If everyone decided to give $5 right now, holy moly, right? So not everyone needs to. We understand everybody's in certain situations, but if you have an opportunity, please do. We love the donations that jingle, but we really love the ones that fold. Speaking of that, Thomas Little Coming to America says, police here use SIG 9mm, Leroy, $20.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know. I was wrong.
Yeah. So I thought they threw bottles of maple syrup. Folks, we are out of we're going. They say I don't give a puck. So we are going into E Block. Let's get to it. And Rachel Maddow has decided to go ahead and stand up for Joy Reid, because what's one good shill that doesn't deserve another? This is so cringe. Joy Reid cried. Her show was canceled, and everyone's like, I stand with Joy Reid. Well, I want you to listen to Rachel Maddow and how she basically says that MSNBC is racist. Here you go.
Mondays. So that's a big change. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call. I understand that.
I'm envisioning scissoring in the green room. Scissoring in the green room.
But that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know. From your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on out are great colleagues and great at what they do, and you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing. But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming.
Sounds like they need to embrace DEI.
Maybe they should learn how to code. That's what they told the oil pipeline workers.
Learn how to work at green jobs. That's probably Hey, maybe some of those black jobs that Trump is creating, you can find one of those.
Right way to treat people, and it's inefficient and it's unnecessary, and it kind of drops the bottom out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work, and so we don't generally do things that way. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here, and I hope they do, but in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts at a time when this job already is extra stressful and difficult. It is not news for me to tell you that the press and freedom of the press are under attack in a way that is really, it's a big deal for our country. It's very visceral for us here.
How?
I know that the business of the press is not an easy thing, and I know that no job is forever. But I think I'm safe in saying for all of us anchors who you know through the TV, please know that what pains us the most is not what happens to us. It is what happens to our coworkers on whom we depend and who you don't necessarily know, but we respect and love them and depend on them. And did I mention we respect them? This is a difficult time in the news business, but it does not need to be this difficult.
Jesus, lady, your fucking white guilt is completely good. You're set. You have paid the toll of your white guilt. Can you please now get some of your white privilege back and stop apologizing? Holy shit, talk about begging the question. Why don't you just go clean her feet and apologize for slavery and write her a check for reparations? I mean, I'm waiting for Rachel. By the way, here are my 40 acres to my property, and here's a mule. And we want to make sure that Joy has this parting gift before she leaves. Enough! God, sorry for using the Lord's name in vain.
And some familiar voices to new hours. It's going to be great, honestly. And we want to grow and succeed and reach.
This is career discipline, but the producer was like, say another fucking word and you will never work in this business again. I promise you.
People that just went through her ear. Resilient and stay here forever. I also believe, and I bet you believe, that the way to get there is by treating people well. Finding good people, good colleagues, doing good work with them, and then having their back. That we could do a lot better on. A lot better. I'll be right back.
Make sure your heart goes out to everybody before you sign off there, Raquel. Everyone's like, her voice is deeper than yours. No, it's not. No, not at all. Her balls must have dropped. Dude, seriously, it's Joy fucking Reid. She was one of the most racist people I've ever seen on TV. She would say shit about Whitey and Cracker, and it was like a Black Panther rally, dude. Good fucking riddance. I mean, how did MSNBC allow her to continue without cutting her feed? I just would have been like, lady, you just basically gave your fucking resignation. What just happened? And all of a sudden she backpedals. You know the producer's screaming at her, Rachel, shut the front door. Shut up. Shut up. Stop talking. And then like there's somebody on a phone. They're like this from on high. They're like, get her off the air. Shoot her if you have to. Get her to shut the fuck up.
As much as she is sitting here claiming that she is a victim, she's almost trying to put it into people's ears that somehow or another Donald Trump is firing her personally.
Right. This is Donald Trump's fault.
When the fact of the matter, and this is why this whole idea that she was trying to throw this out there, that it's an attack on the press, on the industry of the press. Is this somehow an attack on your First Amendment rights? Right. That's how she was trying to shift that prism, to shift that optic. When in reality, the fact is that the ratings are tumbling, and that the only thing that they're a victim of is sucking at their job.
Right,
and what they're experiencing is capitalism saying, I don't want to buy from you anymore. Your product sucks. Now we've seen a little bit of the correct light. We've seen that, you've been saying Hitler for the last 12 years. Now that we know that that's not true, I don't know that I should tune into your show anymore. And because the ratings fell, the owner of the network is doing the responsible thing, which is to try and bring it back a little bit more moderate. And so I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm sorry, Joyless Reed or whatever the hell her name was. We're going to have to let you go because you're carrying the wrong message. You're too far left. We're a capitalist, right? We're a business, a money-making organization, and we need to appeal to a more moderate voter, and you ain't it.
How about stop crying every night? How about stop the conspiracy theories? She has made more predictions than Nostradamus. And listen,
None of them right.
None of them right. At least Nostradamus made 1,000 predictions and like 20 of them came right, which would make him fairly, considered to be the one of the most successful prognosticators in history. But 1,000, 20 out of 1,000 isn't very good. That's basically hitting the ball 20 times out of 1,000 at bats. Okay. Rachel Maddow couldn't hit water if she fell out of a fucking boat.
Right.
Matt can EQ his voice higher or lower as the host. Close, but no, I don't do that though. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Beefy. Why don't you shut the front door? Son of a bitch. It's not like I talk like Leeroy.
Talk like this. Or my balls
I know
are
what
in
I
my
sound.
throat.
I know
Go
what
ahead,
I sound like.
Sorry. Okay. So let me explain. Why is it that on MSNBC the men act like women and the women act like men? Because Don Lemon, CNN, same thing. He decided to go after my girl Megyn Kelly. Oh no, you done fucked up, Ron.
Yeah.
You listen.
You're still not a dick on camera though.
Listen here, Donnie. Okay, Hodgkins. You do not go after Megyn Kelly ever.
No, she's
filthy
anyway.
Son of a bitch. Here's Don Lemon.
So let me just say to Megyn Kelly, in my 30-some years as a journalist and my 50-some years as a person of color, go fuck yourself. Okay?
Son of a bitch.
Wow.
What an asshole.
I usually don't like to
do this, but
you do. You do.
Okay, I'm not going to.
He still has his boyfriend's
it's
dick breath.
Whoa, this is inappropriate. I can't say it. Here it is.
About her because she's one of those people. She thrives on it. She has built the second part of whatever of her career on being a troll. So this is what Megyn Kelly said about
troll, like what you tried to do to Elon, kind of troll.
Just
Reed, right? And remember, Joy Reid is a woman. Megyn Kelly's a woman. She's supposed to be all about women and supports women. Okay, so this is what she said. Remember when Joy Reid laughingly mocked white women tears as pathetic and offensive to her? Who's crying now, Joy? Good riddance to the absolute worst person on television, and shame on NBC for letting it go on this long. And she has she is an axe to grind when it comes to MSNBC, and also, this whole, she's racist, right? It's just, I'm going to give you the evidence.
I've got something to say.
Fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Correct.
Supposedly learned from it and then spent every day after apologizing for it and being fired for it, then spent every day proving the point that she is a racist. And not very supportive of women. If you look, all you have to do, the evidence is in her Google search. And what she says about women, how she calls them out all the time.
You just told her to fuck off. Who are you? He is more of a bitch than she is, though.
I could tell you who he is. He is the guy who's telling you that he's not racist. He's trying to point the finger elsewhere, but it wasn't that long ago that he tried to make it out like the greatest threat to democracy was white men.
Oh, you said democracy. All right, here it is. No, you said democracy.
You can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you.
Democracy.
Do you remember that?
The worst person.
I know.
Megyn Kelly. The worst person on television was fired from NBC in the Today Show a few years ago, and that's Megyn Kelly. That's the worst person who's not on television.
Whatever.
Is you.
This is the worst takedown ever. Fuck, he's bad. Like,
he's terrible.
Dude, I could be hungover with Dan Crenshaw's eye patch over my eye after having a binger with Roseanne Barr, having laryngitis, and I could still do a better takedown. This is just dog shit. It's so bad, dude. You are so fucking bad at your job. They fired a black homosexual. You had the most protected job in the world, besides being a black lesbian Jew. You were a black homo, and you got fucking fired.
Well, he still is. He still is.
Oh, God,
But all he had to do was remain moderate. He enjoyed the most protected status in our society as a gay black man. All he had to do was remain moderate, and he couldn't do it. And he kept trying to sell everyone on this victimhood mentality and that somehow everyone to the right of him was a Nazi. And where did that land him? Unemployed.
He couldn't even debate somebody with Asperger's. I mean, Elon Musk. Elon Musk embarrassed the shit out of him, and Elon Musk isn't known for his debate skills. And he made Don Lemon look like a freaking, like he got his journalism degree out of a freaking Cracker Jack box. The guy is horrible. Megyn Kelly would fillet him if she had to go toe-to-toe with Don Lemon. Don Lemon wouldn't even enter her orbit. Don Lemon would get destroyed by Megyn Kelly because Megyn Kelly is an attorney. She is smart. She is ruthless, and she only gives as good as she gets. And if you come with that bullshit of telling her to fuck off, I can't wait for tomorrow for her reply video because it's going to be an epic takedown. She is going to literally remove your testicles and feed them to your boyfriend, which might be a good thing. I can't wait for Megyn Kelly to take this down. Folks, we are, oh my God, we're $140 shy of goal. This might be the night we don't hit it. Going into F Block right after this.
It's my deep voice.
The Dumb Store is...
No, wrong one. We're doing this
The Dumb Show was built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps us more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or mail, every bit helps keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Are
you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I just want you to know people are going to see this and say,
Bobby
okay, she's pandering to black people.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
Can't hear you.
Is it working?
You can't hear you when you have a soundbite going over. Go ahead.
Bobby Richardson, no words.
LOL.
And then I saw LOL. Yeah. God, I love that lady.
Melanie says, oh my God, Matt, I'm sorry this makes me think of training videos. Well, what would you like me to do? Hey, man, this is fucking the Donut Baby Show, and we really want to have your donations. Please give us money. Rock and roll. What do you want?
I feel like a little bit like Jerry Lewis with
What
the
the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah.
What do you want from me? What do you want it to sound like?
The telethon with the phones ringing in the background.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you about this fucking donation process. If you don't, we're going to fucking billywhack you. We're going to go ahead and bring the boys, you know what I mean? If you don't give us some money, you fucking leprechaun. What do you want? What do you want from me? Hey, Vato, I want to go ahead and buy a dime bag of oregano cost. It's going to be $103.48, eh? Ale, Vato. What do you want from me? It's a good ad. Fucking. Does it sound like a training video? Really? You want me to delete it? Then never play it again? No, well, obviously it's not good enough. Hi, my name's Matt, and I need your money. Please give it to me right now. Give me all of it. Put it on me. Yes, yes, yes. Would that be
Enjoy
okay?
long walks on the beach and bobbing for apples. Yes.
My favorite thing is tofu, and I think it would just be absolutely stupendous. Is that what you want from me?
You have the ring, and I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Where the white women
The
at?
Dumb Show was built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless.
Doesn't sound like a training video, does it?
No.
I'm trying to find my When Harry... Oh, here, you know what?
Yes! 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 Oh! 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Is that better? I mean, what type of commercial did you want? Was there any...
I like that one. I like the one with the Family Guy where he talks about stuff in space with Pepperidge Farm. That's like my favorite. It's so good.
Hold on. Hold on. I got it. I got that voice. Where's it at? Hold on. Oh, wait, here it is. Hold on. Oh, here it is.
Oh, yeah. Had it. Oh, God, that was so good. Now I'm going to stuff my fucking face with Pepperidge Farm.
And I sold the parsnip to a family with 4 small children.
Oh my God.
See, the fact that you have to say they're not that bad means that they are that bad. Let me talk first, all right? And then you can say whatever you want. You cannot take responsibility for anything that goes on in your life.
All right. AI generated voice and lady, it was horrible 5 hours. But it wasn't AI generated. She's a real person. That's not an AI generated voice. You know how much I paid for that commercial? I don't know. She's a VO. She's a voiceover. It's a professional. It's from Fiverr.
Dude, have you ever listened to mine? Have you ever listened to my answering service? Like my
No.
It's hilarious. When you're bored sometime, give it a ring.
I will. It wasn't an AI generated voice though. She's a very popular VO for political commercials and a few ads. Tina Savage, any info on the listening devices being checked in the Oval and the Resolute desk? They're not. It's all bullshit. It's a fucking lie. Trump had the Resolute desk taken out in 2018 for a resurface and a refinishing. It's a bullshit old story. People are just trying to do stuff like they always do. Do you think they will hire furry pansexuals to host shows at MSNBC? Anything could possibly help. Folks, we've got 186 on. I'm really surprised we have that many. Melanie, I've got one thing for you, and then you're done.
Shut up!
Okay. All right, we need to talk about the budget. Got a video by Thomas Massie. You guys know, hey, Thomas Massie. Yes, that for the start, the trainer voice. Listen, Kyle. Mr. McGee, you won't like me when I'm angry. Okay? Incredible Hulk. Here we go. Bill Bixby. He was a great Hulk. He was so good.
Do miss him. He was so good.
I liked Bill. He's such a smart guy.
Yeah.
Here's the video. Listen, people want us to talk about the budget. We're going to talk about that, even though we haven't hit goal yet. Bobby, thank you for the donation. We have not hit goal.
Bobby, you're awesome.
Are you still a no?
Yes.
Is there anything?
They convinced me in there. I'm a no.
Is there anything?
Look let me their own numbers. If the Republican plan passes under the rosiest assumptions, which aren't even true, we're going to add $328 billion to the deficit this year. We're going to add $295 billion to the deficit the year after that. and $242 billion to the deficit after that, under the rosiest assumptions. Why would I vote for that?
So are you solidly a no?
Yeah, they convinced me. I was a lean no until this meeting. Now I'm a no.
This no confirmed.
This is
you
a
were
no.
Why? Why?
They're talking points. Look. These are not something I made up. This is the leadership's talking points. It adds $328 billion to the deficit. It adds $295 billion to the deficit the year after that. The only way they get to this magic thing where it's not going to kill our country is 5 years from now, they imagine that 2.5% growth accumulates, and that even right here they say they're going to cap discretionary spending. You think we're going to cap discretionary spending and then spend at the rate of inflation after that? That has never happened. So their assumptions are wrong, but even if you take their assumptions at face value, they told us in there they're going to increase the deficit in 2025 by $328 billion. And I've been here long enough. I've been here 12 years, so I've seen a 10-year plan or two come all the way to 10 years. Under Boehner, we had these 10-year plans. Under Ryan, we had these 10-year plans. Anything past the third year never happens.
You guys know I'm hard on Massie because every time if it's an election year, he votes Republican 96% of the time. If it's not, it's 51 to 71% of the time. Go look him up on Patriot. I think his average is like 86 in his entire 12 years. Joanne, ignore the idiots. Oh, no. Melanie's a friend. She's always this way. She asked me to sign a book for her one time, I think. So I'm just going to take a shit in it and close it. But I love her to death. No, Melanie, these are good. We're teasing. If you can't tell, I'm in a joking mood. It doesn't bother me. The commercial was designed not to sound over the top, or I wanted it to be nice and humble. And I'm trying to think of people's pocketbooks, I thought it was a very endearing commercial. But, if you don't like it, it's only going to play twice to 3 times. Here's the thing, donate more and you won't have to hear it. As if. Anyway, so let's go into this because this is important. I've got some things. So people are asking me, why is it important? First of all, so let me explain what's in the bill. I broke it down for you. I wrote it down. Leeroy, you chime in whenever you want. Got it?
Yeah.
Tax cuts. They're proposing $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, including extensions from the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act. That's huge. You got to extend those tax cuts because everyone's going to take it in shorts.
Did you just
everybody.
say $4.5 trillion?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to explain some things. Lower taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security benefits. So here's the thing. Right now, we spend $1.2 trillion in deficit every year. So when Thomas Massie says $346 billion, I'm sorry, that is a substantial cut. That is a substantial cut. Now, is it what we want? No. I don't want to add $346 billion, but it's a lot better than 1.1 to 1.2 trillion. Any way you slice it, it's almost a 66% cut. That is a massive cut. So yes, it's 4.5 trillion. You are taking $4.5 trillion down in overall tax. I'm going to tell you how. Increasing the SALT deduction cap helps middle class and high income earners in states with high property taxes. Tax relief encourages investment and job creation, fueling economic expansion and increasing wages. We saw this under the first round of Trump's tax cuts. And yes, the numbers at 2021 were very different than COVID. We saw an increase in every major demographic paid less in taxes than they had in the previous 4 years. Spending cuts to address the national debt. The bill reduces spending by at least $1.5 trillion over 10 years, possibly up to $2 trillion. With a $34 trillion national debt, cutting wasteful government programs obviously is necessary. Democratic-led spending increases that fuel the bill takes responsible steps forward for fiscal discipline. It's not ideal. It's not everything we want, but it does cut it immensely. Paul Rivera, you know the dummies come through. Great show, brother. Sorry, it was your turn, wasn't it, Leroy? No, you did.
Yeah.
You did, Bobby. No, you did, Bobby.
No, I said thank you. I said thank you.
I know. I just wanted to make sure you didn't feel like I wasn't taking care of you. You know what I mean?
You'll be taking care of me soon.
Easy, dude. That's downstairs. I got to come down 3 flights. Strengthening border security. Here's the border law. You going to bed? Good night, son. I love you. Have a good night.
Love you.
See you, buddy. The House bill allocates $300 billion for border security and defense, while the Senate plan set aside $175 billion specifically for border enforcement. This includes funding for mass deportations, completing the border wall, and hiring more Border Patrol agents. Stronger border security means less illegal immigration, fewer drug-related crimes, and a safer America. Reinforcing national defense. The bill prioritizes defense spending to ensure military readiness and protect national interests. The $150 billion dedicated to defense ensures that the U.S. remains a strong deterrent. The inclusion of $20 billion for the Coast Guard strengthens maritime security and prevents illegal trafficking. This is going to be a fight against fentanyl because this is where it's going to come in on the shipping lanes. If we can have the Coast Guard start inspecting boats, doing random inspection tests and dog inspections on these vessels before they make port, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to catch this shit, especially anything that says China on it. Balancing social program. There will be $880 billion cut from Medicaid. Focuses on eliminating fraud and waste, not stripping coverage from the most vulnerable, but stopping the fraud and the waste. Reforming entitlement programs, the bill encourages efficiency and long-term sustainability, preventing excessive tax burdens. Medicaid spending has ballooned uncontrollably, and controlling its growth ensures the program remains available for those who truly need it. $888 billion, almost $1 trillion out of Medicaid.
I mean, the current bill on that currently, it was already $1.4 trillion.
What about it?
Well, I'm just saying, and he's going to cut the exact amount out?
No, it's
I don't know.
Not 1.4 trillion, 880 billion.
Oh, my bad. Okay, got it.
I don't know what the fuck you're listening to.
There's a lot of numbers, and I'm trying to.
I know.
Soak it all
I get it.
in.
I was just teasing. Let's see. What else?
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
For debt ceiling. I know, me too. He's such an amazing guy. Debt ceiling increase to ensure stability. The $4 trillion increase in the debt limit provides stability while allowing the government to operate efficiently. It prevents the U.S. from defaulting on its obligations while ensuring future spending is more controlled. Here's why you want a $4 trillion debt ceiling increase. It's always better to work with a positive balance than working towards a negative balance quarter to quarter. This allows the United States to go ahead and move monies around. This allows the United States to go ahead and have projected spending based upon what's available. But when you're constantly playing against the budget, when you're constantly having to kick it down the road in short term, you pay more. So by increasing it to $4 trillion, it gives us a good 2 years to negotiate, make smart investments, and actually present a budget to Congress that we can meet. That's attainable. Versus spending money recklessly and then going ahead and asking for it and paying the bill at the end of the year that we don't pay. We stick it on the debt, it gains interest, and we're constantly kicking the can down the road. This is why you asked for the $4 trillion. People were asking me why. Now I'm telling you why. I'm almost done.
Mm-hmm.
The bill aligns with President Trump's policies. It re-envisions his lower tax focus, strong borders, and robust economy. It puts Democrats in a tough spot. They either oppose border security or concede that fiscal discipline is necessary. Passing the bill demonstrates Republican leadership on economic issues, a major advantage heading into 2026. This is going to pass. It just passed the House. Thomas Massie was the only nay vote. Fuck him, by the way. Now it goes to the Senate, and we've got the Senate. We've got the majority seats in the Senate, and we got J.D. Vance's tie. Murkowski and those guys, they don't mind spending fucking money. As long as Ukraine gets their money and we go ahead and supply Israel and do the forever wars, Murkowski and Collins are going to vote for it. This is going to pass. And I'm sorry, but $346 billion to the debt is better than $1.1 to $1.2 trillion. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think we've already touched on a bunch of those points. What we're doing is slowing the rate at which we're bleeding money, for one. Two, it's awful big of Massie to speak to fiscal conservatism when it's the other party in charge. I think that that's a little distasteful, in my humble opinion. If you're watching, I guarantee you're not. On top of that, I would say that the money that Doge is attempting to carve out of the federal budget will also buy us quite a bit of time. So if we can slow our spending, stop the bleeding where we can, what that does is it delays fiscal instability within the country. And we were already kind of teetering. This puts us back on more sure footing. Certainly we're not there yet. This is like us going to, this is like a household going to one of those debt, what do they call it? Debt management like centers where they say, all right, well, let's take account of everything you have and we'll figure out how we can put you on a plan, right? That's basically what this is. I do find it really distasteful that he's talking about fiscal conservatism now, only because it's the opposing party in power.
Well, he's a Republican. Larry Hatfield says, but like he is, but he acts like a centrist. Larry Hatfield says, but like he said, they're planning on growth that may not come to fruition. Yeah, but that's with paying down the debt. See, that's not the way debt works. What he's saying is that if we continue, okay, this is what he's doing. I'm gonna explain it in the most simplistic terms I possibly can so people understand. Because Massie threw a bunch of stuff at you that you probably don't get because it's not your everyday thing. They want to spend less than what the plan was last year. He wants to slow down the deficit. He wants to bring it back to Obama and Clinton and Bush era deficit. He's taking us back 20 years by bringing it down to $340 billion. What you're doing is you're getting the Democrats used to cutting. And where are they going to stand when they say nothing changed? When we canceled USAID, how many countries complained? 0. They didn't fucking care. Nobody cared. But the Democrats said the whole democracy was going to fail. The entire world was going to stop. Right. It didn't stop. Everybody got paid. No country cared. They absorbed the fucking money. A lot of the countries don't even ask for the money that the United States gives it to them. It is always a bargaining chip. It's always a bargaining piece. Thomas Massie is talking about 10 years from now. It's going to be a different administration. There's going to be different needs. The economy may not be where it's at. There could be a housing collapse. There could be a major pandemic. Fuck, we get hit by an asteroid. Right. We don't know. So you don't plan 10 years down the road with the government. You do it fiscally, year by year. You make your budget. You hit your budget. You move on to the next budget. You start writing your budget for 2026 now. And we can't do that unless we fucking spend the money and get our fucking debt ceiling up. Because you cannot plan a budget unless you know what your budget is financially. It facilitates legislative agenda. It increases the debt limit, and it ensures it can meet its existing financial obligations, thereby without preventing a default. It prevents a default. The stability is crucial for advancing Trump's policy priorities, such as significant tax cuts and increased spending. If you have a guaranteed increase in the budget, you can go ahead and write in the tax cuts. If you don't have an increase in your budget, if you don't know that you can spend over what has been planned, you can't add anything except what the previous year was. And that's not the way it works. You've got to spend money to make money. You have to stimulate the economy. You have to provide tax breaks for Americans so they reinvest in America. He's bringing in almost $1.5 trillion from 3 major companies over the next 4 years. These things have an impact. It increases job rates. The government doesn't create jobs. Apple does. Google does. Comcast does. You get those companies to invest in America, and that will create jobs. The president doesn't create jobs. It avoids economic disruption and slowdown. It doesn't close the government. It doesn't go, you know what happens when we close the government? The interest rates continue. The government stops taking in its revenue, interest rates continue, and we have to pay penalties on that. But this is for political strategy. Here's why. And listen to me good. And this is why Thomas Massie is fucking wrong. Because in 2 years, folks, we don't know what the House and the Senate is going to look like. So you get the debt ceiling raised now so he can get his policies in place to fix the goddamn country. Sorry for blasphemy.
No,
if
that
you
makes
don't do
perfect
this,
sense.
we got midterms coming, man. You don't know if you're going to have the House and the Senate. So get this shit pushed through now. Give him 2 years of a blank check, and you know Trump's not going to fuck us. He's not going to fuck us. He wasn't fucking us before COVID. He spent $2.3 trillion. $1.2 trillion was from the fucking omnibus bill that he signed in 2016, 35 days into it. And they said, in order to give you your defensive contract, to re-weaponize the military, to take care of the VA and go ahead and rearm our nuclear arsenal, we're putting a pork barrel fucking bill in front of you. And Trump learned his first lesson in Washington. He had to sign it. Yes, he wound up spending almost $7.6 trillion to the national debt. And 5.6 of that was PPE and fucking debt forgiveness and loans and shit for COVID. I'm not saying Trump did a perfect job, but he also had 4.2% GNP in one of his highest and an average of 2.7 GDP, which blew fucking Obama away. If he can just eclipse a 2.5% GDP, we'll start paying down the debt. With the cuts they're making with Doge, with having the freedom of having a debt ceiling where he has some capital to work with a proposed budget that actually hits its target, with spending almost $600 billion less what was going to go to the national debt, we can make some movement to the positive. But you have got to let this man have some breathing room. You got to open up the checkbook. Massie is wrong. He's dead fucking wrong. You want to know how I know Massie's wrong? Because the Freedom Caucus voted with Trump's agenda. And when push comes to shove, this fucker bends and he doesn't vote with Trump. Fuck him. I don't like him. I don't trust him. And that's the end of that. What's up?
Interesting.
Okay, real quick. I got some news. Hey, is Steve on? Is Steve my virtual guy? The guy who does the straps and the stickers for me? I can't remember Steve's last name because my R3 just got an update on R3 real quick, and I want to make sure I get it. Sorry, I'm not mad at anybody, and maybe I cussed at Thomas Massie too much, but this is my nephew R3. He flies drones.
Yeah.
And he basically looks like he just got out of the Matrix with that haircut. Nice job, Neo. But he, the person, Steve does the straps. Steve Fast. He knows, Steve, you know who I'm talking about. I want to get one made with the fire department for my nephew. But here's a picture. I guess he's doing really well. Here's the update. Great news I want to share. R3 called just now and his labs came back and the doctor called him to say that the cancer is responding extremely well. So much that he may only do one more round of chemo. That is just fucking awesome and great news. We needed to hear it, and thank you so much. So, Larry Hatfield says, okay, fair enough. Can you tell me without any hesitation that the government will actually start paying off the debt? You didn't listen to anything I said, Larry. We put $1.2, $1.1 trillion respectively towards the debt over the last 4 years. They are committing to the next 4 years, 340, 346, 352 based upon overall increase, inflation, whatever it might be. But they have predicted that they are cutting that debt from that 1.2 down to 446 billion. These are Bill Clinton Bush numbers. What are you talking about? You can't go net zero. What you're asking is like a heroin addict to stop cold turkey. You will tank the fucking economy. If you pull 1.1 to 1.2 trillion dollars out of the economy, you're going to tank the economy. They are making a 66% deficit reduction by going after wasteful spending, $880 billion in Medicaid. That is how we're paying for it. This is the same thing that Bill Clinton did. Look at what happened with his economy. His economy, he has the only balanced budget since Kennedy. What he did, he cut, what, $340 billion from the Defense Department. He minimized and canceled naval contracts. He closed bases. He stripped Kevlar. He stripped the VA. All bad for America, but it did balance the budget, and he did have a net positive, first time ever in modern day from then until Clinton, that we had a balanced budget because he had a net positive revenue to spend. And the reason why is because he did exactly what Trump's doing. But Trump is going after wasteful spending in Medicare, Medicaid. Why is that bad? What do you want? What do you want from him? Don, this is what we voted for. Why are we turning on him? Why do we really believe that Donald Trump wants to spend more money? Is that what we think? Has he demonstrated that ever outside of COVID, where he didn't run the Senate, where he could have vetoed and Senate would have overrode him for COVID? The optics of that would have destroyed the Republican Party for 20 fucking years. What do you want him to do?
In a lot of ways, I can kind of see a strategy here. There's something called the debt to GDP ratio, and ours isn't great. Currently, we own something like 34.5% of total global debt. But here's the thing. Of all of the countries that do have it worse than we do, they're in a bad demographic situation.
Tell them.
And so in the next 4, 5, 10 years, we're not looking so great right now. But when you compare that ratio, when we revisit that in, say, 5 or 6 years, we're going to be looking better than most of the other nations, especially ones of our size.
This isn't perfect. I mean, if you look at China, you look at Russia, it's not perfect. If we continue, listen, this buys us 5 years. You guys, this buys us 5 years.
True.
And right now, the way we're spending, we're going to hit 50 trillion in 2. So this buys us, this cuts 66% off that pace. I'll take it. I will take it. What he's doing is, listen, it's like, imagine a home that spends $50,000 annually over what they're doing. They can't keep up with the deficit. They put $50,000 on a credit card and the interest rates are killing them. But if they decide to go ahead and only put $10,000 towards it, the next year they have $40,000 free to go pay towards the principal. Don't you understand? You're allowing the American economy to work. You're giving it a breath. You're giving it a chance to catch up. You're going to drive inflation down because you're going to stimulate with lower tax rate, stimulate the economy. This has worked before. People will invest the money. Some people, yes, rich people. When rich people get tax breaks, they go, they just keep the profits. No, they don't. No, they fucking don't. They hire more people. They buy bigger in bulk, so they get lower prices on their dividends. So their PY margins fucking increase. That's what they do, because I do it in my business. I bought 40 books instead of 20 books last month because I got it at 52% off versus 30, and it only cost me an extra $1.05 a book. Why? Because that's good business. But I have to go ahead and set ourselves up for success. But if I'm only buying one book at a time, I'm never going to go ahead and make that money. What he's doing is saying, listen, I'm going to go ahead and take 66 cents on the dollar and go ahead and not spend it. And by doing so, that gives us more freedom. He probably won't even need the debt ceiling increase based upon him not spending billions over. But if he needs to spend 10 billion somewhere, he can. And if he needs to cut 20 billion here, he can.
So it's the rainy day fund.
It's leverage.
And it's funny you say that too, because when you're talking about how money flows around, specifically within the market, if you're talking about Intel or Ford or Tesla or wherever, a lot of times that perception is whether or not the company is growing or are they struggling for cash? When a company is growing, it's always perceived that they're healthy. And if business owners take that money that Trump is basically giving them a little bit of wiggle room, they're giving them that breath, right? They know that if they let the American economy do its thing, right, and scale back a lot on the government intervention that cripples small businesses, that those businesses will in fact flourish. When that happens and those business owners reinvest that and they show growth, there's an exponential effect there where if the market perceives a company as growing, right, then more money gets dumped into it for investment purposes.
Let me read this off and then we'll go. Yeah. This is important for you guys to understand. Biden got a lot of shit. Okay? A lot of shit. Under Biden, the deficit went from 27.8 trillion to 36.2 trillion. Now everyone goes, wait a second. That means that Joe Biden spent, $9 trillion. That's not what happened. The escalation was influenced, the 1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan for COVID relief. That hit him. $5 billion per month to the debt. The national debt surged by $1 trillion in just 5 weeks. President Trump's term, the national debt increased by $7.8 trillion. Okay? So understand this. Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, all added to the national debt. All of them.
Yep.
This is not a Biden issue or a Trump issue, or this is an all of them issue.
Yeah.
So when you're saying that he is aiming for $346 billion, which is essentially going to be about $2 trillion that he's going to add in 4 years to the national debt, but by saving that money and making the cuts that were anticipated to be spent, he's coming in under the budget. Do you understand? And the revenue projected will overcome the spend. That's why they think they can cut $2 trillion. That's huge, guys. Listen to what I said. The revenue is not guaranteed. You understand? But the spend will be. So you do the spend to stimulate the revenue, and you make some tax cuts anticipating that the GDP will be higher than anticipated to offset the tax cuts to stimulate the economy, which creates a better ROI in a year, return on investment. So what they're saying is, okay, we'll spend $346. We're going to cut a lot of spending that was supposed to be in the budget that won't be there anymore, which will help us spend for our tax cuts. Then by doing so, we'll stimulate the economy and increase our GDP and our overall revenue from like a 2.3 to boost it to 3.2. Now, if that doesn't happen, we're in trouble. But it happened with Trump before. And how he's going to do it, and we already talked about it. I told you. Remember I told you he's going to hit Saudi Arabia? What did they do? What was the second visit Marco Rubio made? Saudi Arabia. You get the petrodollar back. You get Saudi Arabia to invest in America again. You get them to go ahead and push our defaults on our loans because they own single-handedly, Saudi Arabia owns one of the biggest parts of the United States in our debt. You build that relationship with them. You stop the Ukraine war. You stop Russian war. You get that money coming back into you. You get a peace deal in the Middle East with Israel getting the petrodollar. You get them to sign the Abraham Accords with Israel, creating a monumental change in the Middle East. Donald Trump will have 3 Nobel Peace Prizes right there, just in that move alone. He is trying to limit energy spend. And if that happens, everything around you, all oil and petroleum, goes down in price. That affects every single business. Everything around you, everything you're touching right now has oil in it. So he's focusing on energy, driving energy costs down. You drive energy costs down, it's cheaper to go ahead and bring your product to market. It's cheaper to make your product. It's cheaper to ship your product overseas. And with that comes a plethora of money to overall pay down the debt. Do I believe we're going to start knocking down the debt in the first 2 years? No, I think we're actually going to probably add to the debt. And that's why he's saying $346 billion.
I think that's completely reasonable. And I wish everyone would also stop freaking out about like who owns our debt. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, in the big scheme of things, right? When you're talking about a country that is $36.2 trillion in debt, if you found out that how much debt does China have of ours? Would it shock you to find out that
16%?
It's only like 800 I think it's like 880 billion. It's not that much.
Oh, did you say China?
Japan has, yeah.
Oh no, Japan has a shit ton.
Japan owns it, yeah.
United Arab Emirates has a shit ton of ours. I mean, yeah, it's surprising enough. What's Saudi Arabia? Was it? Did you say 800? Saudi Arabia is huge. It's huge. Got to be
100. Well, they're showing 120 billion on here. I think
that's
not
older, right.
Though.
That's not right. There's no fucking way. Yeah, because our national debt right now is owned by like 16% of foreign countries own it.
Yeah.
But remember, debt isn't deficit.
Right.
Because we pay the deficit. Totally different
right.
things. So when they say 800 billion, that's a lot. That's a fucking lot. Because deficit and debt are two different things. Because we do pay towards, see, this, guys, this is economics 101. Let me explain something quickly. If you have a credit card, buy all your food on a credit card and pay it off. Let the interest hit, pay the $3 in interest, and then pay the card off. And then do it again the next month. Build your credit. That's how you do it. Yes, that's why your credit's shit. Get a credit card, put all your groceries on your credit card, let it hit 1 month of interest, pay the $3, pay the fucking thing off, do it again. Rinse and repeat. So that's how you build credit. But you got to have cash in the bank. Like, you guys, my family, we blew through so much money during COVID because I lost my job. We had $12,000 a month in bills. House, cars, tuitions. I mean, it's a lot. And when you make a good amount of money, it costs a lot. So we blew our nest egg. We've had to build it back up. But we're being smart with that. We're rebuilding our credit. We're using credit for certain things. We have a PayPal credit card that we do, and I just take money and I put it up. So you got to embrace credit. And the United States credit rating is so fucking important.
It is.
Because
it really
everything that we have is we don't have cash. There is no Fort Knox. We don't have any commodity. We have paper. And if these foreign countries call in their loans against the United States, we're going to be able to pay it. No, we'll pay it. With our credit rating, we'll get the credit. We just won't be able to make the payments. We won't be able to go ahead and pay for the things we need in our country. And that's when we turn into Venezuela, because we will default on our loans. Does that make sense? Yeah, so what he's doing is saying, listen, we're going to cut $880 billion from Medicaid, Medicare for it's not, I think it's Medicaid, not Medicare, which is totally different. It's not old people's fucking insurance, folks. It's basically paying these exuberant amounts of monies to hospitals and insurance agencies for what essentially we're assuming is fraud, because this is what we have to look at. We know there's fraud in the government. We know there's fraud in the DOD. How do I know this? Okay. I need 20 more seconds. Donations are still open. Let me just explain this quickly. In retail, what's the number one piece of fraud in retail, Leroy? Do you know what it is?
The number one piece of fraud in retail.
Yep. What's the number one?
I think it's credit card theft.
Surprisingly enough, it's not. It's actually shrink and swell in inventory. So, which means missing inventory, damaged inventory, or swell. You have inventory you didn't count, and all of a sudden you've got a plethora of extra inventory. It fucks up your overall numbers and your overall profit margin. Second is time fraud. Time fraud is the number one form of theft over shoplifting and credit card theft or employee theft in all of retail. And it makes up almost 67% of your overall losses, time theft.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So if you're in USAID and you have 1.2% of the budget and 67% of your spend is fraud, that doesn't matter. It just doesn't fucking matter. It's low-hanging fruit. But if you're the Department of Defense and your annualized budget is $1.2 trillion and 67% of that is fraud, you understand? So when we get into defense and HHS, foreign aid, when we get into shit like that, that's where the big money is going to be found. And this is the first big step, cutting $880 billion. This is the big step. That's it. So do I think this is the best? No, I don't. Like the government, for me,
it's not. But it
should be zero, but it won't be.
I'll
and
say
it can't
this.
be.
There's also a level of negotiations. If he had tried to make these cuts too deep, nobody was going to buy on it.
Nobody, because they'll never get reelected.
Right. And so what he's doing is setting the stage for economic success that hopefully the Republican Party can leverage in the next term, in the next 5-10 years, this kind of thing. It's not perfect, but
listen, the government spends money, folks. The Republicans have spent more than anybody, but this is at least a reasonable budget. Getting the debt ceiling increased is a huge, huge, huge thing, because then he won't have to go and suck dick. He won't have to kiss Democrats' ass to get the budget passed. Now you give him this is huge. They haven't done this. Do you know how many times they've increased the budget like this and paid off, increased the budget to give them a 2, 3, 4 year buffer? It's only been done one other time in U.S. history. This is huge. And it looks like this is going to pass the Senate, folks. All right. Leroy, give us your minute. It's been a fun night, late night, but I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So we talked about self-deportation with that crazy chick. We talked a little bit about Jon Stewart and, how the Democrats really haven't changed their game at all, which is why they keep losing. Then we talked about Rachel Maddow. It was a great show, honestly. I like the shows when we touch on the idea of fiscal conservatism. Matt and I are both from the same camp. We can be fiscally conservative and socially liberal. That's us. I don't care what you guys do in your own private life. More power to you. I say hang on to all of your rights with every breath you can. Your freedoms of speech, 2A, everything, right? But when it comes to your government, you should be super in the camp of getting them to scale things back, which is what Trump is doing.
Yeah.
So this has been a win for us. I'm happy.
It feels good to me. Here's the other thing I will say quickly, and then we're done tonight. Thank you, Sandra. We appreciate you. No, thank you, Larry. No, dude, I wasn't coming down on you either. I just Massie pisses me off because every time we need him, he doesn't. The fact that the Freedom Caucus and Eli Crane and the guys signed this, it should tell you a lot. It shows that we're behind Trump. And to have one person stray, do you know how nice it would have been said that not one Republican didn't vote with it? Massie, fuck him. And I will say it to his face. Fuck him. We could have had a unanimous vote, which would have sent a very clear message to the Democrats. And that's what America wants. Last thing, people are like, oh my God, Tim Cook, he's putting in $500 billion. They do it every 4 years. They did it under Trump before. Last time they did it was in 2019, I believe. 2021. But they did it with Trump in 2016. Tim Cook, on average, is about $426 billion. So it's a sizable increase. It's a $74 billion investment, but that money was already spent. So there's other businesses, but it's not like that's brand new money. Some of it is already spent. So if that 426 is what Tim's done before, they just increased it. So it's a $76 billion net gain. That's wonderful. For fuck's sakes, man, if you find money on the couch, if you find money in the dryer, if you find money in your pants, if you find money in the car floorboards, eventually that money is a lot of money. So yes, Tim Cook investing in Donald Trump's America is a very good thing. And yes, it's going to bring a shit ton of jobs, 20,000 jobs. And other companies, there's a Bitcoin company that's investing money, and he's investing like, I don't know, billions. All of it's good. Drive down energy. Drive down energy considerably. Get company tax breaks. Take care of all 16 tax demographics. Give people back and have extra money in their pocket. Stimulate the economy. They'll use that money to invest in their small business, deregulate all the fucking small businesses, let them win, let them thrive, let the American dollar sink, then let it swim, then let it fly. That's how you do it. Right now it's sinking. You got to teach it how to swim, then it'll fly. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Good night.
Good
Fun
show,
show, dude. Hey, man, see you Wednesday, 7 o'clock. We'll be back. See you Thursday. God bless. Get that fucking shirt off, and let's get you a Don't Unfriend Me salty shirt.
You want me to take my shirt off?
Not yet. That'll be when we show up. I'll say, hey, when I hug you, you're not going to be pissed that I hug you, right?
Tip to tip. Tip to
Dude,
tip.
I'm a big boy. 6'4", 225. I'm fucking pick you up. I'll be like,
it'll be this, but we'll both be erect, so it don't matter.
It's dude, it's going to be like this and like this. Let's fucking be honest. See you guys tomorrow,
right.
7 o'clock. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.
Peace out, homie.
See ya.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.